Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am sorry, but I can't play music. I didn't know my epidemic sound was due because I don't check my email like I should. And I've got to pay my epidemic sound, and I don't have the money right this second to pay it. So that's why we can't have music. Now, I'm not saying that to get any money or anything like that. I don't have cash up. They're like, there's no way you could get me money right now anyway. And I'm not saying it for that reason. I will pay it as soon as my husband gets paid, which should be Wednesday evening. So hopefully Thursday we will have our music back. But until then I can't play music, unfortunately. I thought I could and I just wouldn't get paid for it, which was okay with me. But I think they took my live down from yesterday. I'm not sure. Like I would be able to see it regardless, but I don't know if it's still up for everybody else. Like I think they took it down because it had the music in it. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But again, I'm not saying that like to get money. Like there's no way I could get any money you send me right now anyway, and I'm just going to pay it on Thursday. So I wanted to let y'all know why there's no music. Actually, I should be able to pay it like Wednesday evening. He usually gets paid early, so I should be able to have music back by Thursday. So I'm sorry about that. But I do want to say that this is a true crime discussions channel. It's all just speculation. It's not for children, it's for mature audiences only. Everything I use is falls under the fair use guidelines. And I appreciate you all being here and being part of the speculating family. It is good to see you. Amanda, I usually play music when I first start, and I have an intro that I play, and I have a video that shows missing children. If you go back and look on my other lives, you can see the music and stuff that plays in the beginning. So I just wanted to let y'all know why that's weird. I will have it fixed by Thursday morning, hopefully. Let us hope. So let me just state, we are going to start where we left off yesterday with the trial, and then we will go into today's trial, and I'm going to go for as long as I can. The kids can do their schoolwork. They have online stuff to do. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Corey. Good morning, Eek and Joy and Jenny and all of my peoples. Good morning, my lovely speculating family. So yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. And then after we get done with this, as long as it's not like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we will jump into today's trial. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up so that y'all can see it, and we will get started. So we left off where she had just called and sent a message and was crying and threatening to drive off of a bridge. We might hear the end of that again, and my computer's acting weird. Okay. So here we go. Let me unmute it.
And you truly loved me like you claimed you did. You wouldn't have done all that.
Let me try to.
Even when I was carrying your child and hating myself every fucking day, crying myself to sleep every fucking night because you did not want to have sex with me.
So Joy, I pay to be able to use the music, and yeah, if I don't pay the monthly fee, then yeah, they like strike me. I didn't get in trouble for it, but I think they took the live down, and I don't want that to happen. Like I'd rather, because like I was saying, I don't mind not getting paid for it. Like I'd still put it out here even without getting paid for it, but I don't want y'all, I don't want to make a live and then y'all can't see it. You know what I mean? She does look like her mama. And this is a trigger warning. I'll get my banner going. Thank you, Jenny.
You did not want to love me. You just did not want me. And I wanted you. I wanted you. I wanted you more than life itself.
Yeah, Joy, but it's
But
okay.
you proved that it was only one way. That feeling was only one way. That love, that loyalty, it was all one way.
Oh, thank you, Amanda, for your kind words.
You
honey,
river now by Danny. So that's where
I just wish she would have found somebody else. If anybody's ever feeling this upset or this disregarded by somebody, just leave and find somebody else, please.
she was at.
You
This is
can,
her
Joy?
emotional
Okay.
state in the summer, fall of 2022.
I'm not going to keep pausing, but thank you, Joy, for letting me know that. So tomorrow we will have the music and we will have everything like normal then, because I don't mind not getting paid for it. That's fine with me. I just thought y'all couldn't see it because I would be able to see it regardless because it's my content. So I was worried that y'all couldn't see it. Thank you. Corey, no, I'm sorry. She was talking about her boyfriend. She was leaving basically an unaliving. She was going to unalive herself and drive off of a bridge. And she was leaving that video message for her children and her boyfriend at the time. Good morning, Anatolia. So thank you guys for letting me know that. So tomorrow we'll be back to normal.
That brings us back to October 4th. And here I'll give you sort of an overview of what the evidence is going to show us to the sequence of events of that day. Now, the first thing to establish is that on the relevant dates here, Billy Joe Howell, the defendant's mother, and Thomas Howell, her stepdad, are out of town. They're not in town. They're not in the house.
Oh, thank
They
you,
are
Anatola.
sort of out of play. I expect that will be undisputed. So that leaves in the house Paul, the defendant, Danny, and the three children, Zane, Quentin, and Scott. In the morning,
That's
of
the
October
babysitter.
4th, quite early in the morning, in fact, the defendant and Danny take the three children to babysitter Michelle Ricardo and her two teenage daughters that live on the same street. They live like right across the street on Buckhalter. And it says babysitter up here, and I've called her the babysitter, but really you'll hear from Michelle, one of her daughters, and it comes across.
Yes, Anatolia. She did say that she would take the little boy in, and it's really sad because she seemed to really love the boy, and I think she talked about even watching them when Leilani was like off work, and how she found it was really weird because like she would be watching the kids every single day, regardless of whether Leilani was home or not, if I'm not mistaken. And so she found it really weird off the bat that they weren't going to be at her house that day. Corey, I don't know about that, but I'm going to assume, like, because if you are abusing substances, it's really hard to stop. So I would assume that she probably did if she had a substance use issue. Sometimes, you know, people do stop, but most of the time if you have to get help for that. So it's very possible. Yeah, Anatolia, they were basically her kids. It's really sad.
More like they were almost like a second family or a substitute family for these kids. Because of kind of the parental shortcomings at 535 Buckhalter. So the evidence might show that babysitter kind of undersells it a little bit. And the child care arrangement was this. At this point in time, Danny and the defendant are working at a warehouse in Port Wentworth, unloading, loading boxes. They're carrying boxes at the warehouse in Port Wentworth. And their shift starts at 6 a.m. They're working the 6 a.m. shift. So early in the morning, on the way to work, they'll drop off the three children with Michelle, with her two teenage daughters. And so they do that. And they both go to work. They clock in at essentially the exact same time, a little after 6 a.m. on October 4th. Now they clock out less than 2 hours later. And the reason they do that is the defendant is experiencing some kind of dental issue. She has a tooth that's bothering her and it needs to come out. And so they clock out right around 8 o'clock, just before 8 o'clock in the morning. And they go to some type of like emergency dental clinic or walk-in dental clinic. And she gets a tooth pulled. You can These are some pictures, selfies she took of herself in the dentist chair. And you can see the side of her mouth on the left side there, I think is kind of swollen. She sent these to Daniel, Young, and Danny, who was sitting out in the waiting room waiting for her. And so after this, they do not go back to work. They go home.
Why did you send pictures while you were in the dentist chair? That's kind of weird, in my opinion.
And the rest of the waking hours of the day are pretty normal.
So Amanda, it's very possible that could be why they wanted her dental records, or if little Quentin had never been to the dentist, then they would want the mother's dental records to identify him by his teeth or whatever. Like if there's no dental record of him and his teeth and things, then they're going to use DNA from the mother, or well, I guess you wouldn't use DNA from like records, but they would probably pull the records to try to help identify Quentin, I would think. Not positive on that.
They get some lunch, they relax, her mouth is bothering her, she's tired, she's sore. And eventually at about 4:30 in the afternoon, they go and they pick up the 3 kids from the babysitter from Michelle, and they bring them home. So at that point, Danny, the defendant, and the 3 kids are in the house. Now, Paul, he worked at the same warehouse, but he worked a later shift. And you'll hear what it is. It's something like 2 p.m. to late at night, around 10 or so. That was Paul's shift. So same place, different shift. So he's not there in the afternoon. Now they're there. They do dinner. They do bath time. They put the kids down. Quentin in his pack and play. I think you'll hear testimony or a statement from the defendant that Sky, the infant, slept on that couch that we looked at, and Zane in Marie's car bed.
Oh, okay.
And
I wanted to make sure I wasn't muted. Yeah, this is going to be the state of Georgia. So this is the prosecution's opening statements. Thank you, Jenny.
Undisputed, I expected it would be undisputed that, at around 10 p.m., Quentin is fine.
I can agree, Corey. I agree with that.
In his pack and play for that time. Okay. And what happens at this point sets off a chain of events that goes over the next couple hours and results in tragedy. And that is that the defendant and Daniel have yet another argument about how he's treating her. This is sometime a little after 10 p.m. And that this is something she told to detectives eventually in some of her interviews about how he doesn't want her.
I'm glad she finally decided to tell the truth.
He doesn't want to touch her. He's not feeling desire for her like he used to. We've already talked about this is a major trigger for her. This is the biggest emotional issue going on in her life, and it's significant. It drove her to the brink in the video that you've watched. This is not a minor thing for her. And so she leaves the house after 10 p.m. on the first of 2 trips that you'll hear a lot about in this trial, and that she didn't really want to talk about, at least truthfully, with investigators. And that first trip is to the drug dealer. She says that she left so that things wouldn't escalate between her and Danny. She was upset. That's her word. So it wouldn't escalate.
So we now know that there's substance use going on for sure. And that's going to be a reason for her overreacting and not making rational decisions, unfortunately. I stated yesterday that, everybody has a past. A lot more people have substance use issues than you would think. And I had issues in the past, but I never wanted to hurt anybody. So, I guess it's different. It's a primal instinct in other people. I made irrational decisions for sure, but I never hurt anybody. I guess it's just got to be in you somewhere. I don't know. Hey, overprotected.
What
Good
she
morning.
does is this Circle K. And I should have pointed out, so you can see her getting out of the car. That's at 10:29 p.m. So about 10:30. I'll back up, and you can see her getting out of her Dodge Journey with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She's not in a good state.
Right.
10:30.
Thank you, Amanda. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Store items. And then she texts Danny. He's got her saved in his phone.
That's true, overprotected. Good morning.
She texts him, I'm going to run to 204, I guess. That's at 10:32. Immediately after she leaves the Circle K. She might still be in the parking lot for all I know. And 204 is an area.
So this is his phone, and in his phone, she's stored as Lonnie Baby.
You'll hear about in this case. It's sort of it's shorthand for our drug dealer. I'm going to run to our drug dealer. This is Highway 204 is what this is a reference to. And their drug dealer lives on a street right off 204. So she's going to get drugs to try to make herself feel better.
I've got my coffee already, overprotected. Sitting here drinking it.
This is a screenshot of some GPS plots from her phone that the police eventually made after getting into her phone. You can see Highway 204 here. And this red kind of blob up here is a GPS point showing that she's at the drug dealer's house on Arkwright Lane from about 10:45 p.m.
I think she's frustrated that the camera keeps focusing on her. And, you know, when you do things like this and it's televised, you're going to be on camera a lot. You just got to deal with it, ma'am.
10:55. And she's scoring drugs to use that night because she doesn't like the way she's feeling. This is some information exported from her cell phone extraction showing that while she was there at 10:49, she made an $80 Cash App payment to a Timothy Weston, who is her drug dealer, or at least one of them. While she's gone, Paul gets home. He had clocked out at 9:56 p.m. And I think he will say that he
oh wow, overprotected. We haven't got that far.
Or something like that.
I hope she's got a decent defense.
You're going to hear a lot about drug use in this case. And he gets home while the defendant is still out on this trip to the drug dealer. And he'll tell you that when he got home, he went in and said hey to Danny. And he saw the kids, he saw Quentin in his crib, in his pack and play. Quentin was fine. He even interacted with him a little bit. He'll tell you what it was. Hey, little man, how's it going? And he sees that Quentin is, hey, okay, he's fine. May not be completely asleep yet, but he's there and he's okay. Now, by 10 after 11, this is another GPS screenshot. It's hard to make out on this TV.
No, so he wasn't gone yet. She went and did this, and then she, at some point after this, flipped out and did what she did.
But this is by 10 after 11. She's got a bunch of GPS points hitting at the house on Buckhalter Road, and this is just to signify that this is when she did. This is around when she is
so
home.
Overprotected.
10 after 11. And so she's home at that point. Paul is upstairs in his bedroom, going to sleep, kind of secluded from the rest of the family. And Danny eventually goes to sleep as well. And you'll hear her say this to the investigators, that she was the only one up and active in the middle of it.
I don't think they were there by themselves, but I think they had that little addition where she could come and go as she pleased. And the boyfriend was probably at home with the kids while she went and met this man that she just met to get what she needed for the night.
In the hours leading up towards 1 a.m. Danny is sleeping because he's going to get up and go to work in the morning. He has to get up
Hi, Abella.
sometime between 5 and 5:30.
Welcome in. Good morning.
And Paul was sleeping as well because he just got off work. He's tired. And you'll hear her say that I was the only one up and about. My tooth was hurting. I couldn't sleep. What she's doing is she's going on a bender. You'll hear her admit to this eventually with the police. She didn't want to talk about it initially, but you'll hear that she eventually acknowledged that she was up kind of frantically using drugs for an extended period of time while everybody else in the house is asleep and out of play.
Okay, Amanda,
You'll hear her
thank
talk
you.
about it. I would hit a line. I would go outside.
Abellis, I haven't checked.
Bring myself down. Maybe smoke a cigarette.
I haven't checked. I will check. Actually, I can check right now.
Then I'd hit another line, repeat the cycle. So she's in her house by herself, physically uncomfortable because of her dental issue, emotionally wrecked because of what's going on with her and Danny, and it's resurfaced again this night. Well, the resurface is probably not the way to put it because it's just an ever-present problem for her. And this is a bad situation. Right? This is a volatile, dangerous.
I asked for information on this case in particular, and I did just get something back. I don't know what it is, but I'll post it later. It might be it's documents pertaining to this case. So I'll make a post later. I'm seeing that in my email, and then I see your email too, Abellis. But I will have documents in regard to this case we're watching right now out later.
Situation. And that's because you'll hear something that she later said during the investigation on a recorded call, on a recorded phone call to Daniel, who was cooperating with the police and trying to help them gain information about the effect that cocaine has on her. It's not just fun for her. You'll hear her say that it makes her angry and impulsive.
Okay, Abellis, I'll look into that. Thank you.
I become angry and impulsive when I'm like.
And so those are the conditions. She's up all alone, physically uncomfortable, emotionally unhappy, unstable to some degree. And around 1 a.m. probably, she kills Quentin. Now I'm going to focus on, what she did and when things happened. And probably in closing argument when all the evidence is in, we'll
it looked like there was blood on the side of that packing
why
plate.
exactly in that moment did she do this? But for now, I want you to just understand the sequence of events and what happened with it.
Right, Eek? That wasn't mine.
She takes
when I was
his body and puts it in Dodge Journey.
Anatolia, so you don't usually set out like what, I mean, it'll make you feel good to begin with, but then you keep looking for that good feeling and you have to take more and more, and then it just isn't a good feeling. And like what I was using, like I would get physically sick and like deathly ill if I didn't have it. That was, Lord, 10, 12 years ago, at least 10 years ago. I stopped doing that stuff, but you don't start out, and in the beginning it makes you feel good and you just kind of do it for fun, but then it becomes a thing you have to have. So I don't know. It's easy. That's the thing about it. Like, it's easy to get addicted because it makes you feel so good. And then you continue to do it. And it gets to a point to where it doesn't even feel good anymore. You're just trying to not be sick.
Journey, Georgia tag TEN 9300. And she begins the cover-up. The cover-up is not just the lies to the police. The cover-up starts immediately. A little after 1 a.m., she drives down Buckhalter Road, which turns to the right here, but it's still Buckhalter Road at that turn. And comes into Ogeechee Road right here.
I'm so sorry to hear that, overprotected.
And she pulls into this mobile home plaza.
Yeah, it's hard
right
at those
here.
places.
Mostly what you're seeing is trees, but there are mobile homes in here. This is Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And there's a convenient standard dumpster sort of hidden away under some tree cover in the tree line there. And she throws Quentin's body away like a piece of trash at about 1:17 in the morning.
She threw her child in the dumpster at 1:17 in the morning. I don't, like, you must have not had, like, any attachment to him whatsoever to be able to do that, in my opinion. Like, how are you just throwing him in the dumpster? Good Lord.
She drives home. This is another export from her phone.
Oh, thank you, Eek. Yeah, it's been like
Showing that her
10
phone
years.
was locked.
I would never ever do that shit
2:01
again.
in the morning
It's not worth it.
until 9:13 in the morning.
But there are people out there struggling every day that I try to remember and pray for every night. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that mess again. It's horrible. But I hate that people are still out there going through it. It's a horrible thing. But thank you for that.
And this is just kind of a shorthand way of saying that's roughly about the time she eventually goes to sleep. And her phone is inactive. Now Danny wakes up for work a little after 5, and he tries to wake her up to go to work. She's supposed to go to work with him. Remember, they work the same shift. She has been up all night doing drugs, and he's been, responsibly sleeping, so he's able to get up for work. And he cannot wake her up. She will not wake up. And at this,
do we believe that the boyfriend was? I think he said Danny, and that's the boyfriend. Do we believe the boyfriend really slept through all this? Because I don't. That's just me personally.
point, he's trying to get out of
Right?
the house to go to work. And he believes that all 3 children are there. He does not go over and check the packet plate. He doesn't even know that Quentin is gone. You saw in those pictures the packet plate is all the way across
Yes,
the
Corey.
room
They do that a
in the
lot
far
now.
corner. It's not right next to the closet. It's not right next to the bathroom. He can't wake her up to go to work, and he's annoyed by this because this is, I think he may tell you it's not the first
That's
time
crazy,
this has happened.
Amanda.
And they are kind of tight on money. They are trying to make money.
And it's
So either
totally,
put
I'm
a
sure
down
he
payment
did,
on
but
a
I'm not
house
sure.
or a security deposit on an apartment, so they don't have to live with their mom anymore. And he'll tell you that he was frustrated by this. You're not going to get up and come to work and make money. And his decision at this time was to say, well, okay, you're not going to come to work and make money. We're not going to spend money on a babysitter today. Because they pay her every day in Michelle. And so he texts Michelle, hey, the kids are going to stay here with her today, Miss Michelle, at 5:20 in the morning. She says, okay.
Right,
And the reason for that is his thought is, look, if you're not going to get up and make money, you can stay here and watch the kids. Wake up and find these kids are still here. You can deal with them.
I mean, he sounds like a sensible person. That's something that, a good man would do. Like, hey, if you're not going to work, you can get your ass up and watch the youngins then. I'm not paying for a babysitter. I mean, that sounds normal to me, but I can't imagine that she was the only one using drugs and he wasn't. That's usually not how that works, in my opinion. I'm sorry to hear that, Eek.
So he goes to work and he clocks in at 6:11. 6 a.m., 6:11 a.m. And he will clock out at 9:15, a little over 3 hours later. And the reason that he clocks out at 9:15 is that at 9:14, 1 minute before the clock out, he gets a call from the defendant who's got him saved in her phone as King. And he's got the 910 area code. That's North Carolina, where he's from. Now, this is a 21-minute call. And she calls him, and the cover-up, initially I said, the cover-up starts with covering this up to him. before the police ever, she covered it up to the police, but before they ever even get involved, she's covering it up to Danny. She calls him.
I'm so sorry, overprotected.
And she tells him that she woke up, the front door.
Oh, Abellis, thank you. Thank you so much. If you guys got a membership from Abellis, please make sure to tell her thank you. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Thank you.
Was open and Quentin was gone. And he would run out to his car, leave work.
Right, Anna, that's what I'm saying. You didn't just
stay
sleep
on the
through
line
that.
for 21 minutes.
Thank you, Abellis. Thank you again
Police
so
went,
much. Thank you.
To the warehouse that they work at, and they got some video footage to see, well, what did Danny look like when he was leaving the house, leaving work, having gotten this call. And this video shows him running out. That's Danny.
Yeah, it's crazy overprotected. I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
Boss, a fellow named David Mullins, that David ran into Danny in the parking lot. Danny's running out. Dave is just pulling in and getting to work. And they briefly encounter one another. And Dave will tell you, he looked genuinely upset. He was for real crying, tears coming down his face. Danny does not know what is going on. He knows what he's hearing from the defendant, and that's it. So he rushes home. And I'll tell you this. I told you to call.
This is hard for me to believe that he did not have any idea of what was going on. He didn't use drugs. Like, I mean, he sounds like a good person, but how do you... a relationship usually doesn't work if one person is using drugs and the other one isn't, which... You know, to be fair, it sounds like they were fighting a lot, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't believe that she brutally murdered him and the boyfriend had no idea.
To Danny was at 9:14. As he's on the way home, on this
That's
call
true, Amanda,
where she's telling him she woke up and the front door was open. These are ADT records. There's an ADT security system on this house, and it keeps track of when each door was open and closed, or just opened, or just closed, having been open. Police got these records, and you'll see that front door didn't open until 9:22 in the morning on October 5th. Now that's 6 minutes in, 6 or 8 minutes in to that call with Danny. And so what the evidence is going to show that she's on the phone with him saying, I woke up and the front door was open and Quentin was gone. And it's during that phone call that she's opening the front door. So you'll hear that she's essentially tampering with evidence, tampering with the scene, staging the scene to fit with her story before the police ever become involved. Danny gets home.
So they're saying that the front door was never opened until 9:22 when she's on the phone with him saying Quentin is gone and the front door is open. That's when she actually opened the door for the first time since her boyfriend left to go to work. I'm glad they were able to figure that out.
Somehow babysitter Michelle got wind that this was going on. Maybe she heard screaming or something. She'll tell you how she heard about this when she testifies. She comes over. Paul hears yelling, comes downstairs, and now everybody's there and they're looking for Quentin. And the defendant, of course, is the only person who knows where he actually is, and that's in a dumpster at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And they call 911, and here's what the defendant says.
I'm going to give a trigger warning. I saw this morning that she tried to have this suppressed. Her attorneys tried to have this 911 call suppressed.
Police show up a little before 10 a.m. and she repeats the same story to them. The evidence will show that that car that's like the furthest one, the most recent one that entered the driveway, is the babysitter's, Michelle's. She had pulled up and parked her white Pathfinder there. But in any case, the defendant repeats that story to the responding officers, and you'll hear from some of them.
I woke up about 7 o'clock. My husband was worried about 6. So we're doing a 3-hour period. Stepped out the front door. So one of my son is not in his sleeping.
Now,
I am
this
so
is a
sorry.
missing child. So situations like this, it's all hands on deck. Everybody comes out. Forensics comes out. The forensics unit came out, had a drone up looking for Quentin. Patrol officers are being pulled from other beats, other areas of patrol, to canvass the area and look for Quentin in the woods.
It really is, Anna. It really is.
Most of the command staff for the Chatham County Police Department showed up because this is a big deal. They take these things very seriously. One of the specialized units that responded after patrol officers had gotten there was the detectives for the Chatham County Police Department, CID, the Criminal Investigations Division. And the first detective there for CID is a guy you'll hear from, Sean Wilkins. Sean Wilkins shows
Oh, thank you,
up, and he's the
Overprotected.
one
Yeah,
who
I've got
conducts-
there's 4 girls here. So, well, I've got 4 girls. There's 3 girls here and 1 boy, and I've always loved Hello Kitty, so I always have lots of pink and purple and girly things. Thank you, Overprotected. That's a really sweet thing to say.
That's the first, what you call more like the first formal interview with the defendant. And most notable from that statement that he takes from her at this time is when she says she went to bed and when she says she got up. You'll hear that she tells him, I went to bed around midnight and I got up around 9. She doesn't say anything at all about this trip to Azalea Mobile Home Plaza a little after 1 a.m. She doesn't want to talk about that because that's the trip that she took to get rid of Quentin's body. So here's her telling Wilkins, I went to bed around midnight and I got up around 9 a.m.
When's the last time you saw your child?
When I went to bed last night.
And what time was that? Do you
It was
remember?
around 12.
12? Okay.
12 and I went to bed. I had my wisdom teeth removed yesterday.
I'm sorry, that's
So I went to bed kind of late.
I get you. Listen, I had it on too.
So I got up this morning about 9.
About 9?
And my front door is open, so I went up and I shut it, not thinking about anything like that. And I look over and check my kids, and he was going. All the rest were there. He was going.
It's all right. It's all right.
Went to bed at midnight, woke up around 9. No mention of the Azalea trip. I told you there were 2 trips, 2:04 earlier in the night.
Did you hear the cops still trying to make her feel better because they have no idea that she's the one who did it, saying, it's okay, it's all right.
10:11. Trip number 2 is that Azalea trip, a little after 1 a.m. And she is totally omitting that. Now, all hands on deck, right? Missing child. There are detectives working on this case that aren't even out of the scene from the very beginning. One of them is a Chatham County police detective you'll hear from named Kiana Robbins. Kiana Robbins is at the Islands precinct, I think is where she was on Johnny Mercer, like not anywhere close to here. But she's in her office, she's sitting at her computer and she's researching. She's seeing if she can find some helpful information. This is
Right, overprotected. There's so much stuff. There's so much more stuff out here for girls and things than there is boys. That's very true.
a stock photo of what's called a flock camera. The flock system is a series of cameras that are set up around town at major intersections.
Hey, Anders. Good
or
morning.
along
Good
busy
morning.
roads. And what they do is they snap a picture of the license plates of all the cars that drive by. And police can use these for a number of different things. One of the things they can use them for is, say you have somebody who flees from a traffic stop and actually gets away. The police can't pursue them without undue danger. They can take that tag number of that individual, they can put it in the flock system and put like a lookout out for them. If that tag hits on any other cameras, it'll alert the police and they can try again and make the traffic stop. Another thing that the police can do, and what Detective Robbins did, was look up vehicles registered to the defendant. She finds that Dodge Journey that the defendant drove to dispose of Quentin's body. And she puts it into the flock system, looks it up in the database to see what, if any, flock cameras that vehicle has hit on anytime recently. And she sees that that car has been out late at night, driving around on trips that the defendant hasn't mentioned yet. She radios that information or maybe calls via phone. This is the tag she looks up. That's the Dodge Journey in the driveway at the time of the police response. She calls Lieutenant Foster, who you'll hear from. This is after the defendant is told
The Oragel story? My goodness. That's so sweet,
mentioned anything about the Oragel trip or the Azalea trip. Foster goes up to her. He now has this information that this tag has been hidden on some flock cameras and seems to have been driving around during the night. And he goes up to her, and he's a lieutenant at this point, which is like kind of a managerial type position. He's, by this time, is the senior man on scene, I believe. But he has background in investigations. He was with the Savannah Police Department, I think, at one point, in their violent crimes unit, investigating homicide. So he knows his way around an investigation. He knows how to do these sort of things.
Good morning, Cody.
He goes up to her armed with this information about the flock hits at night. He wants to know what these trips were about. So he goes up to her and he asks her, "Hey, did you go anywhere last night?" And he's a savvy guy, so he's careful to tack on, like where the kidnapper could have followed you home. And she seems to know, the evidence will show that she seems to know that he knows something.
Yeah, I wonder when the police picked up on that. Cozy, I'm gonna have another video coming out with photos from Maddie, Jen's, and Stefan's phones. I believe they are. I'm trying to get them in order, but I've been working on that this morning, and I'm gonna have some kind of official document from this case as well that just came into my email. So I will be dropping videos later. Thank you for stopping by.
About this trip to Azalea that she took and has not mentioned to this point. And so she comes up with a story. It's not totally clear when she came up with it. But the story is that, that trip that I took away from my house shortly after 1 a.m., that was to go pick up Oragel from a friend at the Chevron. Now, the Chevron is right next to Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. They're kind of right next to each other. And so that's her story. This is what she was doing, driving to that location at that time. My tooth was bothering me. I didn't have any Oragel. I went to pick some up and got some from a friend. This is the first appearance of the Oragel story, which lasts for about a week or so, maybe a week and a half.
Did y'all go anywhere last night or yesterday with Faith that maybe he could have followed you?
So this is her cover for going to get the drugs.
Y'all didn't go anywhere? You made you yourself. Yeah, I know. I couldn't go home. Too full yesterday, so you met me. I went to go to work. 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon? No, like morning at 5. I couldn't go to sleep. Okay, so where'd you go? Right up the road, right here, got Chevron. And my friend I used to work with, she had Oragel there. I answered, okay, I'm home. Okay. Did you go anywhere else? Have you made your way home? So when did you get home?
Anders, I put out a video where I read the article Jenny Jen sent me about Stefan's court appearance yesterday. I haven't seen it where it was recorded, but if it is, I'll look for it. Computer's going crazy. Oh my gosh. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Let me try to get it back. There we are. Sorry about that. Oh, now we got to add. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. It's going to play through this whole ad. So far, we found out that the police have picked up that she left, and her excuse is that she had to go get Orajel in the middle of the night from a friend. So that's going to be her cover for going to get drugs. So she's already lying, and they've already picked up on it.
All right, so that's the story about what I was doing when I drove there. Now, I'll tell you this. She's trying to show him on her phone this trip on an app called Life 360. Life 360 kind of generally tracks your movements. You can join with your family, and they can see where you are and have been, and vice versa. You may be wondering, well, look, if this trip was so sinister in nature, why is she trying to show it to him on her phone? And you'll hear testimony that the reason that she was comfortable holding out her phone as corroboration for this trip to the Chevron is that, again, the Chevron and Azalea Mobile Home Plaza are right next to each other. And looking at the screen, you can't necessarily tell which one she's at. You can only tell that she's in the general area. So she believes that this kind of helps prove that I'm telling the truth about being at the
The Stephen Stearns trial is supposed to start September 22nd of next year.
Chevron. Now, the police would later pull very precise GPS data from the phone, like not just looking at the screen, but from the actual phone, that puts her not at the Chevron, but right at the dumpsters at Azalea, which are, I don't know, maybe 100 yards, 75 yards from the Chevron. But that's why she's holding the Life 360 out and saying, look, this helps me. So that's the first appearance of the Orajel story, to explain the Azalea trip. They take, the police take all three of the adults in the house. Eventually they say, we really need you to get Danny, Paul, and the defendant to the police station, sit them down for formal interviews, and just get like a complete sequence of the day from all three of these people. And the first interview with the defendant takes place in something that they call the lactation room or the nursing room. I think you sometimes also hear these things referred to as mothering rooms. And the reason for that is that Danny was in the single interview room that they have with the cameras wired up in the corners and all that. And this video is recorded on Detective Marion Lemon's phone. Now, by this time, this is a joint federal and local investigation. The FBI has shown up because they get involved in kidnappings, abduction cases. And what happens at headquarters is that they pair off teamwork. One FBI agent, one detective, and they each in a pair interview each of these people. And so Detective Lemons is paired up with Special Agent Brad Snyder, whom you'll hear from. And they were kind of partners throughout this investigation. And it's very open-ended at the beginning. What they're asking for is just give us an account of your day. Give us an account of the last 24 hours. Where have you been? What have you done?
I'm waiting on those reports. I'm going to have a video out about that as soon as I get them.
And so you'll hear Snyder asking him this. The video is really nothing special. I think it's just ceiling tiles the entire time because the phone is sitting on a table. But the audio is good. You can hear it. And she starts with, we left the dentist and came home. So she does start at the beginning.
So right now,
Right?
Again, we're sorry for everything. I mean, we can't imagine the emotions that you're feeling right now. But it's difficult.
You're fine, I was expecting you can ask.
The last 24 hours, just kind of give me, what she's been through in the past 24 hours. So the top 24 hours will be this time yesterday, so from about 1 o'clock yesterday. Tell me your
So that's the start. I was leaving the dentist, getting my wisdom tooth pulled. And the end is the Oragel story, the Chevron Oragel story that she has as her last trip of the night. And she omitted that to Wilkins, is now had to come up with a story to cover this trip.
So, look, that was really bothering me about almost 1 in the morning to call Circle K to see if they have orange out. No. So I got in contact with another one of my friends named Misty that I used to work with. She has a lot of mouth problems, and that's sure if she had any orange out. Met her at the Chevron. And I called her and got that back home. No, also 12 minutes. I done it for like 360. I can show y'all right around. Everything was on the loop. I was like, here back. Get home, and my mouth, check all the kids again. They were okay.
Now, a couple things about this initial interview in which she's asked to give an account of her movements for like the last 24 hours.
If y'all didn't understand that, she said, you can check my life 360. I went to go see a friend I used to work with to get the Oragel. I put it in my mouth. I checked the kids and all. The kids were all good. That's the gist of it.
No mention whatsoever of the trip to the drug dealer. She doesn't want to talk about what she was doing that night in the state that they put her in. So that's omitted completely from this interview. And now she's put a name to the friend who gave her the Oragel. Misty is what she calls her.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you
I'll tell
everyone for
before,
being here
Before we move on from that, I'll tell you this.
and watching the replay. If
The
you are.
police asked her to go through her phone, and of course she's playing, the victim. I'm the victim, the mother victim of a child abduction. So she probably feels some pressure to cooperate. And so she lets them go through her phone. A couple things they see is there's no call to Misty. And there's no call to Circle K to check and see if they have Oragel, which is something she said. First, I called Circle K to check and see whether they had Oragel. They didn't, so then I called Misty. None of that in there at all. They also
So they again just caught her in another lie. She said she called the store and called her friend. None of that's in there.
see a message from the defendant to
Oh,
Danny.
yeah,
We looked
Bellas.
at this earlier. This is
I'm
when
glad
she's
you all are
leaving,
here and sharing your thoughts.
the Circle K and is about to go to the drug dealer at 10:30. Going to run to 204, I guess. This is something that she had left out in this initial interview with Snyder and Lemons. So they interview her again, and this time it's in the interview room. And they want to ask her, what's the deal with this 204 thing? Here's what she tells them. Oh, yeah, that was a trip to the drug dealer, but it wasn't actually to buy drugs. She tells them that the reason that she left the house at 10:30 at night and went to her drug dealer and was there for 10 minutes was simply to pay off a pre-existing drug debt in the amount of $20.
Thank you, Andrew.
Now, the evidence will show that.
So she said that the trip to the drug dealer wasn't actually to buy drugs, but to pay back money that she owed, because that's something that the police and all of us are going to believe, right? That's just normal, right? Like if you're going to see the dope man, you're going to pick up some dope. Ain't nobody stupid, ma'am. Lord of mercy.
That story is just absurd on its face.
Exactly.
But in addition to that, the cash out was for $80, not $20. And she'll later admit that this story wasn't true. But here she is launching it.
Yeah, and I was already heading back by the time that.
So at 10:40, you texted them that you were turning on 204 to go meet Red?
Yeah, like I'm turning on 204 now, like I'm about to meet him. That's what I was trying to tell him.
And at that point, you didn't get anything.
No, I just paid him $20. I gave him $20 and I left. It was a couple days ago.
Look at her lie.
Just paying off the $20.
Did you see all of her body movement? She's using her hands. She is making eye contact. But the lie, like you could tell that she was lying. And that's her normal, what she does when she lies. Those are all her signs of what she does when she lies. I wonder how much more video evidence we'll get of that.
Debt, not actually buying drugs. Because after all, she tells them, other than marijuana, I don't use drugs.
Oh, wow.
See,
Let's watch her lie again. Moving the foot. You see the foot? Looking up.
I don't even look like that. Like, anything, anybody gotta worry about anything we're doing is on me.
Raising the eyebrows, moving her head.
Everything else, I want to start at, I want to start at. I see my was covered in police attention. So I said, anything that's not homegrown or part of the community center, I don't want.
Not making eye contact again. She was looking down when she said that. I'm trying to watch your comments, but yeah, I get really into the body language too, and I pick up on things. I've always been really good at telling when people are lying.
I be homegrown, I don't be cooked up so when people got hurt.
Nervous laugh.
Very strong, detailed denial of the use of any drugs other than marijuana.
Jenny, not
And
usually.
the reason they're asking her whether she got a Percocet from the drug dealer that night is that they had seen some messages about.
Eek, I haven't watched what he did on Stephen Stearns. I think that's the one that does the Madeleine McCain case. That was the last one I watched from him, but he's really good. I like him. If it's the one I'm thinking about.
Buying Percocets as well, and they went through her phone. And they asked her about that. What about these text messages with you? Look like you're buying Percocet, using Percocet.
Right,
And
Abella?
her story at this time is, oh, those are for a friend. I'm just the middleman for my friend Cheyenne, who likes Percocets, but doesn't, I guess, know a dealer herself.
Oh, I know, Jenny. Sometimes you can, but not usually.
Unfortunately, I have to get a better understanding as to, what went on. We gave authorization to
Depends on the person, really.
there's text messages in there unless you purchase them. As recently as within the past 24 to 48 hours. Just relying on that data, or they totally understand that.
I don't think that is it. So,
Or your oysters.
sometimes when you ask me if I've done
Look at her moving her arms, her whole body.
it's right now Cheyenne Crosby, who was under her, she will call me from time to time. If I see a call log, she will help me along the road, ask me for a register or whatever if I can get it. And I'll get it for her. I'll drop it off.
She's very manipulative, using her hands and all of that when she's lying and looking you dead in the eyes. She's a good manipulator, I'll say that. I pick up on that.
Whatever art they dropped off, they should all get it. So, but we haven't messed with the since.
It paused there. I wanted to see
She
if she
does
was away.
not want to talk about her drug use that night because that contributed directly to the state of mind.
Right, Eek?
It relates so closely. to
Yeah,
her killing
Amanda,
Quentin
it's
Miller.
easy to tell when kids do it.
She feels that she has
They don't
to
think
tell
you can.
the parents. And she wants to focus on 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. because after all, this is an abduction. It's not as though I did anything in the middle of the night. My child was taken after Danny left for work. That's her story. That's what she's trying to sell. And again, she forcefully
Well, how did Danny leave for work and not see him there? Like, did he not look before he left? Again, this is weird to me that the boyfriend has no involvement.
denies this.
Me too, Abellis.
No, I did not. I did not take a Percocet right now. This is good for you right now.
Look at her. Emotions high, raised voice, lying like
Police
hell.
follow up. Okay, October 5th, they get statements from the defendant.
Good morning, Annie. Thank you for your
A
comment.
statement from Paul, they get a statement from Danny.
Welcome.
And what you do, and this goes late into the night, eventually it's kind of time to stop on October 5th and wake up in the morning and follow up on some of this stuff. So she
Yes,
has
she did,
said
Andrew.
that she was at the Chevron getting Oragel from Misty, her former coworker. And so they go out and there are two real notable things that happen between the October 5th statements on day one and the next interview. And one is that they do what they call a video canvas. They go out to this Chevron area where she has said that this orogel exchange happened. And they look around and they see if they see any cameras. They go in and they ask if there's footage. And they get footage from the Chevron. And it does not show her stopping there. In fact, it shows her driving by. And they get footage
Wow.
from Azalea next
Me
door.
too, Joy.
And this is a major break in the case, because what the Azalea footage shows is her pulling in, doing a loop around the complex, and pulling up to the dumpsters and sitting there for about 2 minutes. And that's when she throws Quentin's body away. So you're going to hear in detail about the footage from Azalea, the different cameras and camera angles and what you could see on which one. But this is just a sample of that. And this is her.
She did overprotected. I'm gonna tell y'all, because you're my family members, my speculating family members. If you ever get involved in some things, don't even talk to the police. Just say I want a lawyer immediately, because they are not going to be there to help you. Everything you say can and will be used against you. It will be used against you. I just wouldn't even talk. Even if I wasn't involved, I would just get a lawyer. That's just my advice on that. I hope nobody ever has to deal with that, but if you do, some advice.
After 1 a.m. On a mission to throw away.
Right, Joy. No comment. Exactly.
So that's one notable item of follow-up that leads into the next interview. The other is that they go talk to Melissa Misty Bray. Defendant's calling her Misty on the first night. She doesn't even get her name right. But she describes her as a former co-worker from Bojangles. So Special Agent Snyder goes out to Bojangles, asks whether they could direct him to this person. They do. He goes out and he interviews her.
Oh, you're good, Joy.
And he asks her
Thank you for being here.
last time that she saw the defendant was. And she tells him, I haven't seen her for months. The last time that I saw her was when she ran it. It was like in July of 2022, months before what we're talking about. The defendant had run out of gas near Missy's house.
That's sweet, Joy, but kind of scary.
House and had borrowed a gas can.
I'm glad, though. Thank you.
And their last contact was Missy texting her a few times, saying, hey, can I get that gas can back? And that was it. And that was months before. And Special Agent Snyder looked at these messages and they corroborate what Missy is telling. So, Chevron story, the met Missy at Chevron story.
Oh, thank you, Overprotected. That's
completely torpedoed. And so they bring her in for
Thank
another
you. That's so
interview
sweet.
on October 8th. And this one is with an FBI agent named Bridget Brock.
Oh my
And it's
God,
conducted
my
at
rabbit
the
just got
FBI
so scared.
office
Yeah, it's the
in
police.
Savannah. And they confront her with these two findings. One, the security footage from Azalea and from Chevron. And two, what Missy has told them. And she just sticks to the orogel story and just insists that it is true. And this is what that sounded like. She just hasn't had time yet to figure out how she's going to play this with this new information that they're presenting her with.
We'll talk about that, okay? Because Missy had talked to you.
Y'all, my rabbit, he ran through the house, he thumped, and then I went to see what was wrong with him, and my computer fell off the bed. He jumped up on the bed. This is crazy. I wish you could have seen it. Sorry, I'm going to get back to this now and fix everything. Did you hear that? He thumped again. I don't know if you heard it right before I muted. Are you going to thump again? No. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to play this. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, she has.
She hasn't talked to you in quite some time.
Yeah, she has.
She did not have a conversation with you about the ordeal.
Yes.
So in your mind, you've looked at all these timestamps and possibly you came up with a story that's partly true.
No, that is
But there's very, very many missing pieces, right? And in story, you haven't been completely honest about where you were at and why you were there.
I was 100% honest about where I was at. I showed the Life 360. I told my even gave her the order that she gave me.
Right, and that didn't happen. We've already interviewed this.
Yeah, I got the order that did happen. She had that moment inside of her mouth. That's the reason why I asked her for it.
You have to stop saying this. It did not happen.
Yes, it did.
So that's the story on October 8th. I'm sticking to her guns. Now, October 12th, she comes in for another interview. And this is with Brad Snyder, who I've talked about already, who you've heard a little bit from, seen a little bit of, and an FBI agent named Savannah Solomon that he works with closely. And this is at the FBI office. And this is a long interview. I've pared it down a little bit so we don't have to spend 3 hours watching it during the trial, but it's still fairly long. And initially, at least, she's
I fixed
sticking
everything. He's
to
still
the
bumping.
Orangeville story. That's Savannah Solomon on the left, Snyder on the right, and the defendant in the middle.
Well, I did. I did.
I did meet Misty, 100%. It happened. I'm telling you. And she tells this kind of flowery story describing this meeting. She lavishes them with details about how this went down.
So you went to Missy's house, and did you go inside her house? She was just standing outside.
He's making eye contact again.
How long did y'all interact there with Missy? How long did y'all?
2-3 minutes.
That's a great idea, Abellis. I'll have to make one. He's stumping again. I don't know if you can hear it.
Now she has
He just did it again.
Misty was smoking crack when she gave.
What is it?
And what is going on
Hey,
here
so let's
is
Come
when
here.
the defendant is lying and telling a story
Come here.
to cover something up that she did.
Objection, Your Honor, at this point in time, this is opening statements.
Basil.
Mr. Dean has the right to say what he expects the evidence
Basil.
to show, not his interpretation of it. So,
Come here.
The evidence will show that she added this detail to suggest a faulty memory on Misty's part, to suggest that, maybe this will help explain why Misty is telling them she hadn't seen me. And it is nothing to her to just accuse Missy of having smoked crack during this meeting that didn't happen.
What the hell?
But in any case,
She accused Missy of smoking crack. Good Lord, I hope not.
a few minutes later, she finally admits that she didn't see Missy.
I love him. He's my baby.
That's a big thing. Because did you do any work that night?
I did work that night. But I found it in the car was one of the ones that I lost. And I found them when I got back to the house.
She's looking down and away.
So after
She said she
insisting
found it.
on the 5th that she met Misty at the Chevron for Orangeville, and after insisting on the 8th that was the truth, and after insisting even at the outset of this interview that it was true, she finally admits that it wasn't true and massages the inconsistency by saying, I didn't speak to her, but I did go there with the intent of seeing her. And she adds a detail that hasn't been included in any of her stories to date. Oh, and by the way, you've asked me if I threw any trash.
He bites my ankles sometimes. I have a spray bottle. I have to spray him. Yeah. Amanda, he gets in my bed. When my husband leaves for work, he'll get in the bed, and then in the morning at like 7:00, he'll start running laps on the bed, like running all over me while I'm trying to sleep. It's so funny. He is so silly. Bunnies are very unique. He was the mother didn't want her litter, so I took him and his siblings and raised them. And bunnies are really hard to keep alive to get them to eat. And he was actually the only one that survived out of like 5. So I've had him since he was like 12 hours old. So he's like a child to me. He's my baby.
Trash away there. Yeah, I did throw some trash away. She has a story for what that trash was. The evidence will show she did not want to admit that it was Quentin's body. So she describes this trash that she threw away as stinky shrimp pasta that had been sitting in the car in a trash bag and smelling up the car.
Again, it's just another kind of trash bag. She's standing for the state trash like 2 days ago, and there's spoiled food all over the car. So I pulled around and see my gas up in the refrigerator.
Yeah, he was so small. He would fit in the palm of my hand.
Quarters, like shrimp pasta. Yeah. The whole car's like shrimp. See what I did? What is that smell? I felt like before I even went to go to a floor. You know? I go up there and I'm like, get out of there.
And they asked her about this. Gosh, you know,
He was a year old in
This is
April.
the most critical fact in the case. Throwing Quentin's body in the dumpster at Azalea, what she was doing at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza at 1:17 in the morning or so. And her explanation for that is, it's just such a minor thing, throwing away some trash. I didn't think to mention it in my hours of previous interviews.
Looking sus as fuck. Didn't think to mention throwing trash away at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's a lie.
It's just all food up for the car. See an opportunity to get out.
She does not want to talk about what was in that trash bag. They also revisit the drug use, and you'll remember.
Okay, she does not seem like the type of person to stop by a dumpster and just clean out her car, in my opinion. Oh, okay, Bellis. I'll find some of the pictures and post them in my member section of him when he was a baby.
5th, which are repeated on October 8th. Well, this October 12th interview, she admits finally that, I did take a Percocet that night.
And you had a Percocet and Johnson was smoking.
Yes, that's like at home. When I started to the cigarette.
And about what time would you do that?
By the time I got home, I took it like 11 or something, or whatever.
And so Snyder asked her about her changing story. You've been adamant.
I'm so sorry,
that you met
Overprotected.
Misty for
He chews through
Oragel,
cords here too.
and now
I have to be
finally
careful,
admitting
but
to
yeah,
us,
I'm sorry to hear
I
that.
actually
That's
didn't
horrible.
speak to her.
He gets my phone chargers. I have to keep them put up.
Initially, over the course of 2 interviews, maybe more, didn't mention throwing trash away. And now you've got a very detailed account about doing that and what it was. And you, on the 5th, were adamant that you hadn't used any drugs other than marijuana. And now you're telling us that you did take a Percocet too. What's going on? Why is the story changing?
Just
And her
the snowball effect of your lies, changing the story. And it still took them like over a month, I know, to arrest her. This is insane.
explanation for that is, oh, well, my faulty memory might have something to do with all the cocaine I was doing that night.
Oh, wow.
Which is
Okay.
a drug that
Yeah,
had totally
sure.
been absent from all of her prior accounts. And fits much more with the $80 cash app than the story.
I'm glad Overprotected
Getting
that
off
you
the
did.
drug front. And so she is explaining her inconsistent stories by adding another inconsistency, which is an admission to cocaine use.
You requested a short break, and that makes sense. Let's take a 10-minute break and resume with the opening statement. Mr. Dean, again, I'm going to ask you
Okay,
not
so the good part
to
is we can skip
talk
through all
about the
this.
case, don't do any research about the case, avoid conversations about the case. The time now is about
We're going to skip
11.
forward. See, we don't have to deal with any of the breaks by doing it this way. They are crazy, Anders.
All right, all 16. Thank you. And Mr.
Oh,
Dean
no,
will
Abellis. I hope they
resume
don't
with
get
his
hurt.
opening statement.
So, October
What
12th,
are you doing?
and we've come a long way from the
He's being
October
silly.
5th account of only using marijuana that night. This is where we end up on October 12th.
So just before we left to go take the trash the other day, you were done cooking, you were upset.
And in this interview, she acknowledges that this wasn't like the one night she used cocaine. She's a regular user of cocaine, which she had denied in earlier interviews. Now, at the end of the day, the most critical thing though is what happened to Quentin. What happened to Quentin at the middle of the night. And here is what she had to say about that.
So that looks serious. She's ugly crying, and she isn't. She is basically trying to tell them without actually telling them that she did do something by like saying, "I don't remember. If I did do something, I'll take responsibility." She's realized that her lies are just not working at this point, and she's trying to basically tell them without telling them that she did something. In my opinion. Okay. Making eye contact.
I don't know if I did something to him, but if I did, I will take responsibility. She appears to be claiming something like a lack of memory. And I'll tell you that the evidence that you'll see is going to show that when she drove to those dumpsters at Azalea to throw Quentin's body away, you can see that she's driving normally.
They are
You see that
destructive and very
She
small.
comes to a complete stop at stop signs. She uses her turn signal. You'll hear evidence that the investigators could tell from her phone that she plugged her phone into the USB charger in the car when she got in.
That's so
So the
funny,
evidence will
Amanda.
show that she was aware of what she was doing when she took him there, and that her claims to just not know what happened cannot be true. They do not fit with the other evidence. We've talked a lot about what she has been saying to the police and the FBI on the 5th, on the 8th, on the 12th. But we haven't talked much about the other aspect of the investigation, which is the effort to find Quentin and to figure out exactly what happened to him. So I'll talk a little bit about that now. Now, on October 18th, police announced that they believe Quentin's body to be in a local landfill and that they're about to begin this extremely challenging needle in a haystack search of the landfill. And this is how they got there. A detective with the Chatham County Police Department goes out to the mobile home plaza once these dumpsters become an area of interest after they've looked at the security footage. And he asks what garbage truck company services these dumpsters, and they give him that information. He gets in touch with that garbage truck company, and he learns that it was truck 309 from a company, 3909, I should say, from a company called Waste Pro. This is the list of stops for that.
That's so
truck
sweet,
on that day.
Amanda.
Serviced the mobile home plaza. This is on the morning of October 5th, actually. Quentin wasn't in the dumpster for very long because it was empty that day. And this What I'll tell you next kind of goes to explain Quentin's condition when they ultimately found him. Not in an intact body, but in pieces, little pieces, bones. So front-loading garbage truck extends its hydraulic forks into the slots on the side of the dumpster and drops Quentin and all the other garbage into the box in the back of the truck. There's a compactor in that truck that compacts everything. You want that compactor in there so that the truck doesn't have to go to the landfill as frequently. Makes the garbage smaller and take more garbage. That truck went to the Waste Management Superior Landfill on Little Neck Road on the morning of October 5th. This is the landfill ticket. They weigh the trucks when they're coming in. That's how they know how much to charge the garbage truck company for this particular load. This is for Waste Pro Truck 3909. And with this information, the detectives go out and they talk to the landfill manager, and he's able to identify the area that garbage was being dumped and then kind of shoved to on October 5th, and this kind of general area up here, that becomes the search area. So they have kind of an idea of like a general box in the landfill of where Quentin is going to be found. But this is still an extremely difficult thing. Even if you know the general area, there's like 2 more days of trash that have since been dumped there since the 5th. And this stuff gets compacted and moved around. They drive these compactors over it that have studded metal rollers, and everything just gets shredded. You may have this idea that you go into a landfill and it's just like a pile of bags of trash, just like they were when you put them in your garbage can at home. It is not like that. You will see that it is not like that. Everything is shredded.
Yeah, they took, like I've said before, it took them over a month to find the poor baby.
Because compaction is the name of the game in landfills. You'll hear that. You gotta get everything pressed down real tight because space is money. So, at the end of the day, they have tons and tons of garbage to search through. And so they arrange the landfill search. They have some consultants from an outside agency come in and advise on this because it's a very technical thing. These consultants are able to tell them, based on the size of the box, about how many tons of trash they'll have to search through to exhaust the area. Based on known rates of searching, like pounds per day, they're able to give them an estimate of how many people this is going to take and how much time it's going to take. They have to order specialized protective gear, steel-toed boots, tie-back suits, respirators, gloves.
You sure
Put
do.
over the gloves. This is a biohazard environment. And they have to find volunteers, and this is an all-volunteer duty. All right? And for weeks, volunteers from the police department and from some other law enforcement agencies came out here early in the morning, and they do this landfill search that involves an excavator up in the search area, scooping up garbage, putting it in a dump truck. Dump truck comes down on this open area bounded by cones that they call the search deck. Excavator down here kind of spreads the garbage, that particular load, I think they were calling them lines, out onto the search deck. And the law enforcement officers, these volunteers, get online with rakes, and they just search through it. This is what that looks like. And they do this for days, weeks, in the heat.
It was
all that
awful.
gear on. That's why I said earlier, these efforts can only be described as heroic. They want to find Quentin. The evidence will show that these things are not typically successful. There's a very low success rate with these landfill searches because, again, it's a needle in a haystack proposition. But that's what the police are doing while she is playing games with investigators and changing her story and changing her story again.
Okay, Amanda, I'm assuming I want to give y'all a trigger warning.
October
This is
24th,
bad.
while the landfill search is underway, And those volunteers are suffering in the heat out there, not knowing whether the next rape is going to bring more tedium and boredom, or if it's going to bring the horror of what they're actually looking for. The defendant is still playing games. Having already admitted that she went to Azalea and threw away trash, but it was only stinky shrimp pasta. She does an interview with the
Stinky shrimp pasta. That's why you said that earlier. I didn't catch that. Yeah, and this is while they were arguing with Bullhorn Betty and Dolly and all of them standing outside. This news conference was going on. She was crying on cue and playing games on her phone.
news, WTOC, in which she still, even at this late stage, this is October 24th, that's 19 days after the initial 911 call, and after several interviews where her story has just been shot to pieces. She does this interview where she holds herself out as the victim of a child abduction, still on that, and has the gall to make an appeal to the public to just please bring Quentin home safe. And the evidence will show that she knows he's not safe. And she knows he's not coming home.
My kids woke up to me screaming, "Where's Quentin?" and running through the house. I ran and looked everywhere, inside, outside, so screaming for help. I've been here every day since this. I'm not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up,
She knows she's lying. Look at her face. I remember this from the first time I saw it. She knows she's lying. Mamas always know.
that I am
Look at her
at fault,
face.
I will take
Just
myself to
disgusting.
the police station. And I'll walk with her. All we want is justice for Quentin's life. That's it. We want justice too. We want answers. We don't care the cost. We want answers just like everybody else does.
I think she's still trying to cover for her, but she knows she's lying. I could tell by the look on her face. She knew she's lying.
At the end of it all, we love you, baby Q. My little monkey, you'll be wonderful.
That same day in which she's claiming to the news to have no idea what happened and to just want him home, she sends this text message to Savannah Solomon of the FBI. And this is just the latest Hail Mary. After all the statements about going to the Chevron and then going to Azalea and what she was doing there, and I was actually throwing away trash and not Quentin. At this point, October 24th, the same day as that news interview, she and Danny are split at this point. He kind of seems to see the writing on the wall for her and has left town, I believe. I think they're not together at this point. And so now's the perfect time to try to put it on Danny. I'm not lying for Danny anymore. The reason why my story about Oragel and shit didn't make sense was because Danny told me to say that he was the one who left. My phone was in the car from my previous trip. And the reason she says that is her phone GPS puts her at the dumpsters too, not just the video. So anyway, she's throwing it on Danny and is now saying, you know what, I didn't actually make that trip. Well, that's him, not me. And they get her in for an interview a couple days later to formalize that statement. And they just sort of let her talk and put it out there. But the evidence will show that it's clearly not true. It was a desperate attempt to just try something new after, I don't know, a dozen lies to that point. And that interview was on October 31st, last day in October. Now, on November 18th, about 3 or 4 weeks after they started searching through that landfill, this arduous task, challenging thing.
Okay,
All
overprotected. I
volunteers.
just saw that. Trigger warning, they're about to show part of the baby. So if that bothers you, you might want to leave. Thank you for letting me know. Overprotected.
They finally find what they're looking for. November 18th. It's a memorable day for the people who are involved in this landfill search. Because they find Quentin, and he's not in good shape.
She just keeps looking at it.
Okay, they find him in pieces.
Oh my God.
Mostly bones.
Oh my
Foot.
God.
It's not as though he's in one place on that search deck. They're finding bones
Lord have
in
mercy.
different lines, spread out. He's torn apart.
Oh my God.
They sent Quentin's remains up to the FBI lab at Quantico, Virginia.
She just kept
where
looking at
DNA
it. I'm not
analysis
crying.
is done.
Nothing.
And they confirm what everybody already knew,
She looks like she's blinked.
is that this is Quentin.
She's blinking, trying to make her eyes water. That's what she was just doing. All that blinking. She's trying to make her eyes water and trying to make herself cry, but she can't. She was just staring at it. Thank you again. Yes, thank
And the
you,
defendant
Jenny
comes
Jen,
in
and Overprotected.
for one last interview.
Not making eye contact. I did Overprotected back at the beginning of this.
So that's where she ends up. After having given this very detailed cover story about going to the Chevron to meet Misty for Oragel, and having added this later, this richly detailed account of having thrown away some garbage at his
Not even crying. No
but
emotion.
it only being shrimp pasta.
Damn near
Her
smiling.
final story, when they found Quentin after tracing the trash and making it undeniable that what she was throwing away in that dumpster at Azalea was her son's body, the best she could do in her last interview is to claim a total and complete lack of memory from seeing him in his pack and play at 10-something
Me too.
to snapping back into consciousness on the way home from Azalea. And we'll watch it. You'll see more specifically what she says happened.
Jenny, you
is
should
she was
go.
driving home, hit a set of railroad tracks, and that jolted her back into now forming memories again. That's the story she ends up with. After those richly detailed accounts of false statements for what happened during that trip, now she just can't remember anything that happened during the critical time period. in this case.
Overprotected, thank
The
you.
murder and the disposal of the
I'm
body.
glad that you guys are here. You guys make
So,
it cool in a good chat room.
That
Thank you.
is
Thank you so much.
as concise
You guys are
as
what
I
makes
can
it
make
cool.
The account of
I'm
what
glad y'all are
happened
here to talk
and what the
about
investigation, how
squirrels
the
and all the
investigation
things. Thank
unfolded.
you. Thank you so much.
What will the trial look like? Okay, so that's kind of the story, start to finish. What will the trial look like? Trial's not like an opening statement. All right, we bring witnesses in one at a time. It can be kind of disjointed and choppy because each individual comes in and they can only
Yeah,
talk
it
about
does.
their
I have when
role
I've sent them before
and
to
what they did,
Overprotected.
heard, saw.
Thank you
that
again.
sort of
Thank
thing.
you.
You will hear from some of the responding officers. You'll hear from people like Michelle McCarta, people in Quentin's life who can tell you some things about how the defendant felt about Quentin and treated him. You'll hear from the investigators who took these statements and followed up on them. You'll hear from some of the people who were involved in this search of the landfill. You'll hear from some of the scientists at Quantico who were tasked with
Oh, thanks,
identifying
Overprotected. Y'all make it cool.
and seeing what they
Y'all are
would
what
make
makes it the
of these
best.
remains,
Thank
which
you.
are just totally
I'm glad y'all are
torn apart.
here.
What I do not expect to hear is exactly how the defendant killed Quentin. And that's because she covered it up. It's because she got rid of the body. All right, the evidence will show that her specific intent from the outset was that he never be found at all. And him being found in pieces, little bitty pieces, was the next best thing. The judge will tell you that in a case like this, we do not have to prove exactly how the defendant killed Quentin. Under these circumstances, how could you? And that is a sensible rule. Because what we have to prove, what is important, is not exactly how she killed him, but that she killed him. The fact that
Thank
she
you,
did.
Joy. That's such a
And
sweet
the
thing to
evidence that we
say.
will present
I'm
to
glad you
you
like my voice.
will do
Thank
that.
you.
It will do that.
Thank
Beyond a
you,
reasonable
all our
doubt.
lovely family members.
So at the end of the
Thank
case,
you
when all
for
the
being
evidence is
here and
in,
sharing your thoughts
we will
and
make our closing
speculations.
arguments, and we will ask you to find her guilty of all of the charges in the indictment. I want to thank you for your attention. This has been a fairly long opening statement, but it was important to us, because it's our one chance to do it, is to give you kind of soup to nuts from the outset. What is this case about, and what did this investigation look like? So I thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dean.
All right, we're about to hear the
The
defendant.
defense wish to make an opening statement.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
The 4-minute defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't intend to speak nearly as long as Mr. Dean did,
No doubt. No motherfucking
because
doubt.
frankly, this whole case is about rumor, gossip, speculation, and innuendo, and ultimately the state's bold conclusions about what they say happened but can't prove.
Okay.
Unquestionably, this is an emotional case. I know that. I have 5 children, 4 grandchildren.
Right, Abella?
So I understand how emotional this can be.
I feel bad for him.
But this case can't be decided based on emotions. It has to be decided on facts and evidence presented in this courtroom. It can't be determined by emotions
Spiders creep
or
me
their
out.
rumors
I don't
and
like
their
spiders.
gossip and their conclusions. And in the end, what you will determine is that's exactly the foundation of the state's claims. Bunch of conclusions, bunch of declarations, unsupported by actual evidence. These declarations about she did this at 1 o'clock, she killed Penton. She drove here, and then all of that are their conclusions, what they have decided the evidence shows.
I mean,
But what is important in a trial
telling.
is this witness stand, where witnesses testify and evidence is presented. It's not what some lawyer says. It's not what the state declares the evidence to be. And that includes this discussion about the statements.
Right, Abellis?
Mr. Dean has his ideas of what those statements represent, but that's your job. And it's not to simply rely on the state's conclusions about what they mean. The state has a conclusion. The core conclusion is that Leilani Marie Simon murdered her child. The evidence will simply not support that bold conclusion. That is why, after we've heard all the evidence,
It really seems like it does, though.
all the argument, the evidence will lead you to one place, and that is a finding with respect to murder and concealing the death of another of not guilty. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Purse.
Wow. That was groundbreaking.
This would probably be a good time
Oh, let's
to
see.
break for lunch.
Anything else
And then
happens
we'll
here?
resume testimony after the lunch break. So ladies
I'll
and
bring up
gentlemen,
my dang
we're going to take
thing.
a time for lunch break. The time now is 12:10.
Okay, so we got
We're
state
going
witness
to, I'm going to
one,
ask that you report back.
Sergeant Bobby Stewart of the Chatham County Police Department.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Sergeant Bobby Stewart.
And is Stewart Stewart?
Right, Abellis?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And what do you do
E?
for a living, sir?
I am a
Exactly.
sergeant with the Chatham County Police Department.
Hence the uniform?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you been a police officer?
Probably about 34 and a half years.
And how long have you been a sergeant with the police department specifically?
Quite a while. I can't tell you exactly how many years, but it's been quite a while.
Now, what is your current position?
I'm a patrol sergeant,
That is creepy.
A
to me.
watch.
What is a watch?
A watch is, we have different watches. We have A watch, C watch, D watch, and C watch, A, B, and C. Indeed.
And are these different shifts?
Yes, sir. Different
What,
shifts.
what are the hours for a watch?
A watch, hours now today is 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, so it's essentially the daytime.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is your position? The patrol sergeant for AWATCH, you said?
Yes, sir.
What are your responsibilities in that role?
My responsibility is for during the day, the shift that we're on. I'm responsible for doing the briefing. At the beginning of the shift, I assign officers to divisions in Chatham County.
Okay. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the morning of October 5th, 2022, okay?
Yes, sir.
Were you working that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
And what were you doing on that day?
Patrolling Chatham County.
Okay. Any particular precinct or area?
I was in the West Chatham precinct of Chatham Parkway.
And were you the sergeant over all the patrol officers assigned to the West Chatham precinct?
That sounds
Yes, sir.
interesting, overprotected.
And how many
That
of
would be
them
something to do.
were there at that point? Patrol officers on the west side?
It should be a total 7 or 8 that day.
Okay. Now, at some point on that day, on the morning
I
of
need to get
October
with my
5th,
members with EEK
did
and
you
everything and see how we do
respond
this
to a call
character
for
analysis
service
stuff. And
originating
you
from
guys,
535
overprotected.
Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what was the nature of the call that brought you out there?
Missing child.
Now, when you get called out to a particular location on a particular call, do you yourself hear the 911 call?
You talking about on the radio?
Yes. Do you hear the 911 call that was made, or are you just getting a call from a dispatcher?
No, sir. I don't hear what was said when the person calls in.
Okay.
The only thing I get is the dispatch.
I hope
what the
so.
dispatch
Look
tells
at her
us.
just staring at me
And,
now.
and the word from dispatch initially was it's a missing child call.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you go to 535 Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how did you get there?
It was in my marked patrol vehicle. I drove there. I think if I'm not mistaken, I went down Chatham Parkway.
And
To-
what, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chatham Parkway to Gorod Avenue to Buckhalter Road.
And what type of residence is 535 Buckhalter Road?
It's a 2-story, like a single family dwelling.
I'm going to skip through and
Do
see
you
if there's
see in
anything
front of
important
you
because
a
I've got to get
document
videos
marked as
out
States
later. So
Exhibit
I don't want us
1?
to just.
Yes, sir, I did.
Can you look through that and tell us what it is, please?
Okay, his testimony's not long and then it breaks. So we'll listen to his testimony and then skip through.
It's it would be to the east of Highway 17 on Buckhalter Road, which is off of Gorod Avenue.
Well, I just mean, what is the document in front of you, States Exhibit 1? It's more than one page, is it not?
Oh, yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And what is it?
It's a little like maps off of Google.
And do those maps accurately reflect the location of this residence in Chatham County?
I love Halloween.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer State's Exhibit 1 into evidence at this time.
I got to do some things before I can go on camera, but I'm hoping to go on camera for you guys at some point. But I love Halloween.
Yes, Mr. Hilliard, just make sure you speak loud enough so that Ms. Natalie can capture your words.
I'm just gonna look through several of them. I think I've already seen them, Judge. I just want to make sure.
Oh, wow, overprotected. I did follow you that day. I meant to tell you. When I followed Cozy, I
Yes,
followed
ma'am. No
you too.
objection.
I
I've
had
already
to check
seen
that
all.
out.
State's Exhibit 1, is it?
Your Honor, may I now publish these on the screens?
Yes.
I'm going to skip through. I don't know that his testimony is going to be groundbreaking or anything, even though it's short.
I'll go out and look for it.
I advised them to check the residence as they was checking the area, see if there was any cameras. on the
Okay,
houses.
like Ring doorbell cameras and
Yes, sir.
things like that. So you had people out doing that.
Yes, sir.
And did you also have
That's
them
right,
canvassing for witnesses, potential people who might have seen the child either on his own or with somebody else?
Yes, we told them to knock on the doors and try to make contact with the people that live there, see if they knew anything.
So the initial effort focuses on searching the house and searching the general area around the house, if I'm understanding you. Did you yourself personally search any particular area?
I did.
And can you tell us about that?
While I was standing just inside the gate, the backyard area, there was a open shed to the right. It had an RV. We walked over in that area, me and another officer, and checked it. And we left there and went. There was a shop directly behind the house. We checked that area, but it was locked up. We inquired about a key, but they said there was the gentleman who had the key to it wasn't there. So we searched around it, looked at behind the stuff that was there. Nothing.
Okay. So you weren't able to get into the RV initially because of lack of a key?
Correct.
Okay. Did the officers that showed up to help with the search efforts, where did they come from?
There was other officers that was assigned to my team that day.
Okay.
Well, once they got into the church, they briefed them on what was going on, and they briefed on the areas that they wanted to search.
Okay. And what happened after that?
And
Oh,
once that
really,
was
Jenny?
over, they broke up
That's
in groups
amazing.
and they searched the area.
Everybody had a particular area that they were responsible
Yes,
for?
sir.
And how long were you doing that for?
I would say probably another hour and a half.
Okay. What time of day are we at this point, roughly?
It's getting dark. It's late in the afternoon.
Okay. And when had you initially arrived
To the church, where?
to the residence in response to the initial call?
It was just a minute.
Sure.
9:42.
Now, were you wearing a body?
Numbers, you got to 1 through 27.
I'm skipping through because I want us to get to something of evidentiary value because I still got some videos and things I got to work on today.
And I understand that Exhibit 3 is a composite exhibit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
And may I be seated to scroll through these and question the witness? Thank you.
Well, happy early birthday, Jenny Jen.
Now, Sergeant Stewart, mainly these images depict different people and when they arrived, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's
So let's
funny
just go
about
through these in order. This first slide has 9:54 and 28 seconds in the top right corner. And we can see the defendant walking down the driveway towards you, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this is your initial arrival.
Yes, sir.
This next slide is shortly thereafter when she begins talking to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in this next slide, slide 3, who is the gentleman on the far left? And you can look up on the screen, I think. Might be easier for you.
You said it far left?
Far left of this image.
That's Corporal Jefferson,
Okay.
your officer.
Moving on to the next slide. Who is that immediately to the right of Jepson that we see there with his hands on his body armor?
That looks like Officer Gormley.
Okay, so that would be Gormley.
Yes, sir.
And then to the right of Gormley, who is that with the notepad in his hand talking to the defendant?
Officer Voss.
Officer Voss. Okay. So these pictures that we've looked at, these all depict the people who were there initially, correct?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to slide 5. This is what time?
9:58:33.
So this is within just a few minutes of your arrival.
Yes, sir.
And who is the gentleman with no shirt there in the middle?
I think that's our brother.
Okay. And then the woman to the right in the image standing alongside the white vehicle, would that be the babysitter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's difficult to make out in this picture, but is her daughter standing right
Oh,
on
I
the other
definitely
side of her?
will.
Yes, sir.
I'll watch it and I'll get him to watch it too.
Now, what time is this next slide?
10:08:58.
All right. So how long after your initial response?
Even the
would
female
this be?
cop's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here? What the hell?
14 minutes.
Okay. And who's that in the middle? Is that Officer Voss still?
All right, I don't know that this is all
Facing away.
pertinent information.
For me, it's Officer Voss.
Okay.
Let's see.
And who is that looking towards you?
That is Officer Clark.
Slide.
I think it's
Okay, I do
Detective
want to
Lemons.
be inside of
All
the
right.
house.
And what is happening at this time?
This is the front door of the house. The door that they said it was open.
And what's going on?
I'm explaining to her from where I am what they told me and that showing her the area, the room.
She's taking a look in the room.
Yes, sir.
Joy, that stuff is supposed to be really good.
And then finally, in the last slide here, what time are we at here?
12:43.
All right, so this would be almost 3 hours after your original arrival.
Yes, sir.
You got there at 9:54, 12:43, almost 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what are we seeing here? What is happening here?
It's Jenny's Ander.
Hi, good afternoon.
I'm trying to
Afternoon,
skip
Josh.
through so we have important things to talk about.
Say that again?
I was turning to Mr. Dean.
Sorry.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Corporal Cody Jepson. Work with the Chatham County Police Department right now.
And how long have you been with the Chatham County Police Department?
About over 6 years.
Oh, I skipped back. I didn't mean to do
Hi,
that.
good afternoon.
Afternoon, Josh.
Here we go.
Looks like
Savannah, Georgia.
basic
Cabela's.
appearance.
And you mentioned a PIO. Is that the public information officer?
Yes, sir.
And what would she do with a picture of a missing child?
I can't put it on social media for others to see.
See if anybody had seen it
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, shortly after your initial arrival, did you approach the defendant and ask her for a clothing description, what the child had been wearing the last time he had been seen?
Yes, sir.
And did she give one to you?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what she said?
Oh, yeah, Bella.
It was a Sesame Street pajama top, and then I believe like a blue gym style shorts.
Okay. And
Okay,
did you
ever
have a body
protected.
worn
Thank
camera
you. I'm going to
that
take
time?
you up
I
on
did.
that, and
And
we'll
did
jump
it
into
record that
today's.
interaction?
Yes, sir.
And
I was thinking that was going to be the most important thing, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So we'll go ahead and get started on today's. Because, yeah, I do got some videos and things I got to put out later. Do. Hold on just a minute. Look at her face right there. You little liar, you. And of course, it's on break, but it's probably lunch break. So we'll catch up to where we are here, and then I'll probably have to go. So let's go back and see what's been going on this morning. Do. Hold on just a minute. Okay, so he's back on the stand. All right. We'll skip it forward to where we see pictures. Okay, so this is from earlier this morning.
This exhibit to the jury.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't know if my mic was muted, but I said this is from earlier this morning.
All right. Now, this is photograph number 1 of State's Exhibit 10. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a photo log. It gives our case number, the location signal, which is the crime or what we're responding to, who went to it, the date of it, and then the
I
time
agree, Ann.
approximately we arrived. We put this at the beginning of all of our photos, so you kind of get a summary of what you're about to look at.
Now, moving on to image 2, what is this?
This is the front of the residence. I'm standing on Buckhalter looking towards the front of the residence.
Now, can you see the front door in this image?
Yes, sir.
And where is it?
It's all the way to the left, right behind the green chair.
Okay, is that what that is? There a green chair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that like a little small patio area outside the front door?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to the next image. Well, let me ask you this. Are there any other doors on the front?
There are no other doors on the front.
Were there any doors on the sides of the house?
No, sir.
Okay. There are other doors on the back,
Yeah,
correct?
there's 2 in the back.
Okay, so 3 total exterior doors on this house?
Yes, sir.
Moving to image 3, where are we now? Where have we moved?
So I moved further down Buckhalter just to get a different angle of the front of the house and the side.
I'm going to get some coffee. Just to be clear, this is from this
And
morning.
4,
They're on lunch
where
break
are we
right
here?
now.
4, I am at the end of the property line, further west of their yard, looking towards pretty much the front and the back of the house.
Okay. Now, is that the driveway for 535 Buckhalter that you see there?
Yes, sir.
And where are we now?
Now I'm standing at the edge of their driveway looking into the backyard.
And there's a truck here, right?
Yes, sir. I believe that belonged to the son.
The son, you said?
Or brother.
Now, in image 6, where have we moved here relative to that last image where we were standing behind the truck?
I'm in front of the truck at the gate entering into the backyard.
And what do we see off to the right there?
There's a detached carport with the RV, a white truck, and an SUV.
Are you referring to the white SUV more or less in the middle of the frame?
Yes, sir.
Now, this next image, how have we moved or changed our position relative to the last image?
So I had just panned right.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I didn't realize it was not muted.
Of the fence line.
Okay, so you've made a 90-degree turn to the right, and this is just a front corner of the yard.
Yes, sir.
The next image,
I'm starting to pan left. You can see the carport on your left-hand side from the previous pictures.
and in image 9, Still painting left.
Yeah, still painting left.
Image 10
Continuing to pan left.
and image 11.
Image 11, continue to pan left. Just got some more vehicles in the trash cans and starting to get the side of the
Oh,
house.
thank you, Abellis.
Can
I
you
hope
see
yours
my,
smells awesome. I love
cursor on the
coffee.
screen, my pointer?
Yes.
All right. What is this here?
Those are 3 trash cans.
And what is that structure that they appear to be sitting on?
It's just a wooden structure that they built, I believe, to keep the trash cans in.
All right. When you began taking pictures, were those trash cans closed?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to image 12. Where are we here? What movement have we made and where are we looking?
So I have made my way around. I am at the back edge of their property looking. Now I'm looking towards the, I guess, back of the house, towards the street.
Okay, so you just moved to the back of the property line and you're looking back the way you just come from.
Yes, sir.
The one that was upside down was the muscadine grape jelly that I made. And it was upside down because if you flip it upside down when it's like the jam is still hot and in liquid form, you flip it upside down for 10 minutes and it seals the lid. So you don't have to can it, but I still can it. But that's why you flip your jelly jars upside down when you make jelly, because the heat will seal the lid, and then you flip them back over after about 10 minutes. I think I put it in the comment, but I'm not sure. I have to double check.
Image 13.
I have moved to the right a little bit more.
We're talking about kind of a side step along the back fence.
Yeah, just a little distance.
Okay, and we can still see that white SUV on the left-hand side of the frame.
Yes, sir.
No, I don't,
And two
Anders.
other
Annabelle's,
vehicles,
no, she took them to a
in the center
dumpster.
there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is this structure on the right-hand side?
That is a detached barn or garage.
A detached garage?
Sure.
Okay, so far in terms of structures, we've talked about the house itself, right?
Mhm.
There was the detached kind of carport with the RV in it.
Yes, sir.
And now we're looking at a detached garage in the back as well.
Yes, sir.
In image 14, where have we moved relative to the last image?
Further right. This is just kind of the side of the garage, and there's also a carport attached to that garage.
Is this the back side of the garage, the furthest side away from the house itself?
Yes, I'm still on the property line.
And what are we seeing there on the side of the garage?
2 trailers, a car, and some tools and ladders in the background.
Okay, so is there like a carport that extends off the back?
Okay, I don't feel like this is
Is
pertinent
that what that
information
car is?
either. I want
Yes,
some,
sir.
like, I want to see that picture.
Now, where are we here relative to the last photo?
Hold on. We're going to still skip through.
18, we've just panned all the way to the right here.
Yes, sir.
In 19,
So they were saying he might have fell in the pool.
what are we looking at here? That seating area
Yes, sir.
beyond the pool.
Beyond the pool. And the barn is behind me at this point. Or not the barn, but the garage.
Now, in image 20, where are you standing? Where have you moved now as you take this picture?
So I am in underneath the patio in the little seating area, like right in the middle of the seating area.
Thank you, overprotected.
I'd be facing the carport.
Thank you, Jenny.
Point of reference.
All right, so you've gone across, like on the other side of the pool from where you were in the last image, and you're standing in that seating area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is,
Oh,
house
overprotected, you're
on the
cool
right here.
too.
Yes,
We're
sir.
all cool here.
you mentioned
the
earlier
cool
that there was
kids
one
club.
exterior door on the front, none on the sides, and 2 on the back.
Yes, sir.
Are those 2 on the back visible in this image?
Yes.
Can you tell us where they are?
The white door on the right-hand side, that's the dining room door. And if you look a little bit further past it, there's a little dark area. That's the living room door.
Can you kind of step down and just point to where the living room door is in this picture?
I think it's this right here. Yep.
All right, so it's right beyond that play gate, I suppose,
Yes, sir.
on the right side of it.
Yes, sir.
And that opens into the living room.
Yes, sir.
Number 21, where are we here? What are we looking at?
I just moved forward. There's the dining room door would be to my right, and I'm looking into the play area.
Okay, so that dark bit we can see on the far right side of the frame, is that the part of the frame of the dining room door there?
No,
Why is
the
there just a
dining
random
room?
couch
Yes.
in there?
Okay.
That's weird.
22,
Just inside of the play area, you got a couch, little trampoline, slides, play or kid toys.
and 23.
This is from the back of the play area, looking towards the patio.
Okay, now, this area right here in the far side of the frame,
Oh my gosh, overprotected. That's
is
crazy.
this up here the seating area that you were initially in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is this dark structure in towards the top left?
It's like maybe a little bar.
Okay. Now,
So this is where the
Where are we
baby
here?
would have played.
Here, I have just moved over to the right a little bit. I'm kind of standing in front of that trampoline, pointing towards the doors to enter the home.
and can we see the living room door and the dining room door in this picture?
Yes, sir.
All right, living room door
Let's see
being
what this is.
that one would have
Oh,
to
that's the
take
layout
to
of the house.
To go from the front door, not on the screen,
I'm not
but on. Yeah, show us again on the screen and then draw up the paper, please. To go from the front door to the
Front door.
living room door.
Front door, you walk through. You got to go through this door, go through a bathroom, another door to go through the kitchen, another door to go through, dining room, another door to go through the kitchen, through a hallway, either upstairs to 2 bedrooms, or through another door to go to the master living room, and then another door to go to the master bedroom.
What about the living room door?
Living room doors.
That's an
right
interesting
here,
setup for a
and
house.
then the dining room doors right here.
All right, so let's just take a moment.
Oh,
Can you,
okay.
on the paper,
Overprotected. I try to
can you
be.
draw a
Sometimes I
path
feel like I'm not
from
the best.
the only path, as you've described it, from the front door to the living room door? Not the dining room door, not upstairs, but the living room door.
Okay.
My kids love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so I'm constantly making jelly. I make all kinds of jelly.
Now,
I'm gonna try to sell some at a craft fair.
Tim
I've been
said-
getting stuff together for that, salves and things.
that front door, top right, bedroom, bathroom, dining room, kitchen, hallway, living
Oh, I'm
room,
glad you
master
guys feel at
bedroom.
home. Y'all are so sweet.
I want to ask you a couple things, and I'm doing this because it's
Somebody commented that it was like a kitchen table talk, like sitting around the kitchen table. I like that
Can you
idea.
describe to us what parts of the kitchen we're seeing in this image? Where are the sinks?
So coming from the dining room, you will have your stove and your oven right here on your right. Your sinks are here, refrigerator's right here, and you have a little pantry here. There's a pass-through window leading into the hallway right here above the sink.
That's a weird
Thank you
layout
very
for a house.
All right, with that, we can get back into the images, okay?
Oh, I do want to see inside the house.
27, where are we standing as this picture is taken, and what are we looking at?
So I am at the doorway looking into the room.
Jenny, welcome home.
all
Yeah,
the way
welcome home, you
down
guys.
the far left wall.
And what's in the foreground closest to us?
There's a couch, and then, or I guess that was a kid bed too,
Say again.
a child's bed.
The child's bed is where?
The couch.
Okay, overprotected. Yeah, that was a good
And
opening
what's just
statement,
beyond
but
the
after
couch?
that, it's been
There is
not
a
much.
baby swing. Beyond that is a desk, and then there's a bed in the far back corner.
And what is that to the right of the bed?
Dresser.
28, where have we moved relative to the last image?
Like, I don't-
Panned right a little bit.
I don't like the fact that
You'll
they don't
see
have a
the
door on their
dresser.
bedroom, being adults. Oh
The full
Lord, we're about to
dresser
get
has
into
a
some
closet
things.
door,
Let's just wait just
and
a minute.
another kid bed on the right hand side.
29.
Pan right a little bit more.
I'm gonna give you a
You
trigger
see the
warning. I
kid
just
bed,
saw
a
something.
dresser, a projector screen, and that's where the that door would have been on the previous picture.
The door that you mentioned as having been walled off and not operational, that's behind the projector screen.
Yes, sir.
And then 30. Where are we here?
That is the pack and play that I mentioned
This
earlier.
looks like blood right here. It could be juice, like where the baby's on the edge and spilling juice.
31.
But that right there looks like
the
blood to
pillow
me.
inside the pack
Right
and play.
here.
And
Look at it.
32.
There's blood on
Again,
it.
the pillow inside the pack and play.
Yeah, I'm going to zoom in on this picture a little bit.
That is blood. She didn't even get rid of the evidence.
Do you see that substance?
Boy, dumb
there?
criminals at work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Did you
Jen.
get a good look at it while you were out there?
I did, sir.
And did it?
That's really
what, if
sad.
anything, did it appear to you to be?
I believed it to be vomit.
Okay. Did it
Vomit.
appear to be
Okay.
blood?
It didn't.
Okay.
It's a lot
It's
redder
not
in that
blood.
picture than it actually was.
You're saying it's appearing redder on the screen than
Yes, sir.
it actually was when you were out there.
Yes, sir.
Did not appear to be blood to you.
No.
Okay, so it was
Did you do any
vomit, not
testing at any
blood.
point to determine whether it was blood?
I did not.
33, another picture of the same.
Another
Oh, okay,
picture.
Jenny.
The
Thank
blanket
you
is
for being
out
here. I
if you
appreciate you.
search The pack and play after the picture.
Now, let me actually go back. Okay, so in 34, where is that pink blanket?
It is, or on 34, it's on the, I guess you call it the rail at the side.
Now, I want to go back to, pardon me, to 31. I'm on 31. Where's the pink blanket in this picture?
It's inside the pack and play on the pad.
All right, so we've got some pictures where the pink blanket is in the pack and play and some where it's on the rail.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us when it was moved and why?
It was moved due to, or I guess it
Good
was
morning,
moved when we were
Trixie.
looking for, see if there's any blood on the inside the pack and play.
Okay, so
And then we just moved it to look at the blanket itself and to look at the mat.
okay, thank you. Did you have gloves on when you did that?
Yes, sir.
Bye, Jenny. Thank you for
Moving on
stopping
to
in.
35, just another view of the pack and play after the blanket has been moved.
Yes, sir.
36, same.
Same.
All right, 37, where are we here?
My back is towards the pack and play, and I'm looking towards the bed and the
Trixie,
bottom
I hope the
corner.
babies are okay.
So you're essentially standing at the pack and play here.
Yes, sir.
38,
38, I just pan left, same spot.
39,
39, pan left. You can see the front door in the left side, the couch, and then there's a safe and a projector on the window back there.
40,
40, at
I was muted, but look, this is the door open, and you see this right here, these people, that's Bullhorn Betty and Dolly and them, and all the people standing outside screaming at her. I do believe that's what it looks like to me, them protesters out there. That's my speculation on that.
at the desk, looking towards the front door. You can see the street in the background.
41,
I have pan left, front doors on the right, pack and play, and the projector screen. Continue moving to the left.
43,
Oh, sorry. Pan to the left even more. Kid's bed and the closet door.
44,
Just
Oh, I'm so
continue
sorry,
painting.
Trixie.
And 45, what are we looking at now?
45, that's the.
I hope you
guess
get
the
it figured
entrance
out. I'm
into the rest
sorry.
of the house. That's the bathroom right there. You can see the dresser right there on the left-hand side.
All right, and then what is this through that door that I'm,
Just a little
highlighting?
storage cabinet.
All right, that's inside the bathroom?
Yes, sir.
46?
These are from this
Pan
morning.
to the left a little bit more. You can see the bed now and the dresser.
And 47.
Just a view of the bed.
All right, 48, where are we?
48, I am by the bed and the dresser looking into the bathroom.
49?
Starting to take photographs into the bathroom. This is the little storage cabinet from the previous photos.
And is that on your left as you walk in?
Yes, sir.
50?
Starting to pan right.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
need
door
all
leading
kids
into
need
the dining room.
structure.
And you can
I'm
start
sorry to
seeing
hear
the
that. I hope we get
shower
it. Hope you get
bathtub
it figured
on
out.
your right.
We could see those dining room drawers that you were talking about earlier through the door.
I said Switzerland the other day. Sweden. I'm sorry, Anders.
51?
Yes, Anders is from Sweden.
Continue panning to the right. Now you can see the shower bath.
52?
That's the shower. I'm starting to make my way around the bathroom.
53?
Continue panning right. You got a sink and a mirror.
And 54?
54. This is above the toilet. The toilet's at the bottom. And then you got a little storage shelf.
I'd like to zoom in on this storage shelf here. See that little bottle
Wow.
with the blue?
The Origin was there the whole damn time. Imagine that.
Red and yellow label. What is that?
Ambisol.
Do you know what Ambisol is?
It's a oral pain relief.
Okay. Something you, like a liquid you rub on your gums or teeth to relieve dental pain?
Yes, sir.
Now 55, where are we here?
55, we're in the bathroom looking into the dining room. The dining room door from the previous photos is on the left. And then you have a little dog cage and then dining room table on your right.
Thank you, Anders.
56?
Just panning through the dining room. You can start to see the kitchen entrance door or entrance on your right hand side.
57?
57, the dining room doors are right behind me looking into the kitchen through the dining room.
Okay. 58?
Continue panning right. That's a little storage closet. And you have a deep freezer.
Still in the dining room here?
Still in the dining room.
And 59, where have we moved and what are we looking at?
So I have moved around. The kitchen entrance is to my left. I'm in that corner and I'm looking towards the bathroom door. And you can see the dining room door on the very right of the picture.
All right, so that dark wood door in the middle that we're looking at is the door that you came through to get into the dining room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the white door on the right is the door to the outside that
Yes, sir.
they call the dining room door. 60?
Now I'm on the other side of the dining room or the kitchen door. The closet is going to be on my left. And then you can see the edge of the bathroom door that I came through. And now you can see the dining room door leading outside.
61, you just pan to the right a little more.
Yes, sir.
62, same.
Same.
63, same.
Same.
And 64, where are we now?
64, we are in the kind of the doorway and looking into the kitchen from the dining room.
And can we see the sinks in this picture?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned there's something that you called a pass-through window over the sinks. Is that at least partially visible in this picture?
Yes, sir. If you
Oh,
look
wow,
at the,
Abellis. I didn't know that. That's
pill
interesting.
bottles,
I would have thought you got snow.
right behind that is just the pass-through. There's an open window right before you get to those pill bottles.
kind of an unusual feature of the house.
I think so.
65, where are we here?
I don't want to miss anything important, but I
Max,
don't
I'm
think
still at the doorway.
these
and
pictures
just
are going to
kind of
hold
pan left.
any
You can start to see the oven and the stove.
evidentiary value, really. We'll skip forward just a little bit.
Another picture up. Kind of between the.
So
front
now we're
door
in
and
the
laundry
master
room
living
area.
room.
Okay. 82, where are you here?
I'm on the other side of the couch looking towards the front door. That big TV entertainment thing would be behind me.
And what is the living room door
I'm sorry,
partially visible? in
living
this
room
image?
door. Yeah, at the very right, you'll see the living room door.
Okay. Is it the blue thing or is it beyond that?
Beyond that, it's the, I guess the white door with the colors on it.
What is all this stuff over here?
A bunch of clothes and toys, I believe.
Why is the crib and the bunk beds not being used?
It didn't appear to be used at this point in time.
Why do we have a room full of kid stuff that's not being used? That's weird.
Yes, sir.
And on the left side is that
So like,
dark wood piece of furniture that we saw earlier.
yes, sir.
And 102, where are we?
My back is towards the bunk bed, looking at the wall across. You can see the door I entered on the right-hand side.
Like the crib just full of stuff. There's shoes and clothes, open sunny D.
107, where are we?
Okay, I don't really
That
care
is
about.
the detached garage outside.
No,
Okay, well, this is going to be her car, so we can check that out. I think it's her car.
Can you tell us what this is?
Again, this is the photo log that we put at the beginning of all of our photos. The case number, the location where I was at, 2003 Chatham Center Drive. Signal was still missing child. I was still the investigator. The date was 10/6/22 and the time was approximately 16:14.
4:14 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Those of us on 12-hour time.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, slide 2, what are we looking at?
This is the view of the front of the journey.
Slide 3.
The driver's side front,
4,
driver's side,
5,
the rear,
6,
passenger side rear,
Is this Leilani's car?
passenger side. And just kind of pan to the right and got the rest of the passenger side.
8,
Passenger side front.
9,
This is the driver's side door open.
10.
Nope, sorry. 10. That's
Yeah,
the
go
driver's
on
side.
the screen with me if you can see it all.
That's the driver's side door.
11.
Driver's seat and the floor area. That's some trash on the floor. Yeah.
Somebody's been drinking and
Two
driving.
alcohol bottles and like a little wooden skewer.
What's this alcohol bottle here?
Fireball.
And then
Fireball. Dun, 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 dun. Let me stop.
Do you know what that is?
Not 100% sure. I think it was whiskey, something like that.
13.
That's still the driver's side steering wheel, and you can see the gear shifter.
So this is
That's
where
the
she,
driver's side rear
I
door.
think, if I'm correct, and this is her car, that's where she filmed that video. Trying to see if we saw anything weird in the car.
This is looking into the back seat from the driver's side.
16.
This is the rear of the vehicle with the hatch open.
What the hell?
This whitish substance
Is that something that you all put in there?
No, we did not put that in.
Was it already in there when you opened the car up?
Yes, sir.
And had you in fact seen it at the scene?
What the hell is that?
Before the 5th?
The trunk?
I mean, had you seen through the window that there's some stuff in there?
Yes, sir.
So this was in there during the police response?
Yes, sir.
It's already there. It's not something that got in there between.
Bella's, that's a lot of cocaine over here. She's damn Tony Montana over here. I think it's that stuff you sprinkle on the carpet when you're about to vacuum it to freshen it.
Do you know what it was?
But I could be wrong.
Not 100% sure. We did do a little, we took a sample of it and we did do a little self-test there. Kind of appeared to be like kid cereal or baby cereal.
You said you did
Like a,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I
took
know
a
what it is.
sample of
It's
it,
that
put it in some hot
infant's
water,
rice cereal, and you put it in the bottle to make the bottle thicker.
stirred it up, kind of had a grainy oaty smell.
A grainy oaty smell?
Yeah, or weedy smell.
And did it dissolve in water?
It did.
Did it appear to you to likely be some kind of children's cereal?
It did. This is the passenger side rear door. And looking into the vehicle from the passenger side.
What's that there in the floorboard?
That is a Natural Light beer can.
Somebody is drinking and driving
Front
like
passenger door.
hella a lot. Goodness, save the beer till you get home. I don't drink. I don't like drinking, but
And the seat.
let's not drink and drive, people.
21. That's it for State's Exhibit 11.
Right? Overprotected, and there was a crib in that room where he was not even. It was not even being used. There's bunk beds, and they got him sleeping in there and that
Is it
shit.
also part
What the
of the
hell?
duties of the forensics unit to collect video footage?
Yes, sir.
You sometimes get them from Ring doorbells on people's houses,
Yes, sir.
for businesses.
Yes, sir.
Did you participate in an effort to obtain relevant video footage in this case?
Yes, sir.
And was that centered on the Chevron, Azalea mobile home?
We're gonna skip forward to
area,
more pictures or
near
videos.
the intersection of Ogeechee Road and
I think the next one is at the dumpsters.
Did you go to the Chevron?
So let's see what all's going on at the dumpsters where she dumped this baby's body.
Now, slide 2, what is this here? What are we looking at?
These are the community dumpsters in the Azalea Mobile Home Park.
All right, and what is that we see on the far right side of the frame?
Oh, hey, Sub Rosa. Good to see you. I'd have to agree. Thank you for being here, Sub Rosa.
Okay, and that is sitting right next to the standard dumpsters, right?
Yes, sir.
Moving to slide 3, where are we? First of all, where are we?
So we are, this building on my right is the Azalea main office. Right as you enter the park. If you look in the distance, you can see the white Jeep from the previous photo.
I've zoomed in here. Is that the white car that we just saw in the last picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and off to the left of it, is this one of the dumpsters?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in this picture, zooming back out, did you take this picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you standing right underneath a camera?
Yes.
All right. And that camera, is it affixed to the side of the management?
It's yeah, I believe it's on a little patio covering.
Say again?
I believe it's on a patio covering.
Okay. And again, were you standing more or less right under it?
Yeah, my camera was right under it.
And was the goal of this photo kind of figure out what direction is this camera looking and what is the field of view going to show in terms of the car sitting at the dumpsters?
Yeah.
Okay. So we see, at least as you're standing there, you can see this car sitting at the dumpsters, but it is a ways off.
Yes, sir.
And what is this in the foreground here? that this area that's bounded by this fence?
It's like a little maintenance area where they store, I guess, their machinery.
I'm here. I'm dealing with the
And
kids. Give me just a second.
property, the office property.
Moving on to slide 4, what are we looking at here?
This is the photo log for the 9th, when we return to get the comparison photos from the phone and the timestamp of the videos.
Now, how many cameras did you all collect footage from Azalea for, I don't know, the early morning hours of the 5th and the late night hours of the 4th? Do you remember how many cameras total?
I believe there was 3 cameras at Azalea.
Okay. And did each one of those 3 capture, at least seem to capture the Dodge Journey that you photographed?
Yes, sir.
I want to just
Okay, so that was her car.
Talk about
He just said the
next
Dodge Journey.
few pictures. Slide 5.
Let's see what we got.
Where are you as you take this picture?
So this one, I'm inside the office, holding a cell phone here, and then had another officer hold their cell phone on the camera view from outside, and then you have the timestamp right above that.
Okay. What is this monitor here that you're looking at?
That's their.
Oh, you're good. It's spread out because I think it's
for inside
spilled.
office.
And is that monitor showing you the current video feed from that camera that you were just standing under in the previous picture?
Yeah, that's the live view.
Okay. What is the time showing on your phone?
12:20.
Okay. And that's 20 minutes after noon, is that right?
Yes, sir.
On the 9th.
Yes, sir.
And it's the same for the officer standing outside holding a phone up to the camera?
Yes, sir.
Was your iPhone time working that day?
Yes, sir.
Has it ever not been working?
Mhm.
That's a no?
No, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Now, this camera is showing, when we zoom in here, it looks like it's showing 10:59.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so is that where you're getting that these cameras were about 81 minutes behind, 80 to 81 minutes behind?
Yes, sir.
And that's because the difference between 10:59 and 12:20 is about.
Okay, so they're proving that the cameras are 81 minutes behind, I think they said. Trying to get it to pull up.
Now, this next image, slide 6.
Past where they're holding the phone.
Is this you looking at the monitor for a different camera pointing a different direction?
Yeah, same monitor, just different camera.
Oh, same monitor, different camera.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does this camera that we're concerned with here in image 6, does this point out towards Ogeechee Road?
Yes, sir. That's Ogeechee Road.
Okay.
Past those.
I was dealing with the kids. I'm going to try to skip it forward a little bit.
Okay. And that's you're indicating
Where we
at the
see
top
her
right
actually like
corner
pull
of the
up
picture.
or something.
Can we see any part of the chevron in this?
The kids are outside if you
Oh,
can
yeah,
hear them.
If you look at my vehicle, the chevron's right.
Which one's your vehicle?
I don't see anything important. Yeah, then it goes to break.
And then where's
Watch the end of this till I can go back here, and then that might be it for today
Yes, sir.
since they're on break. Give me just a second. We'll watch the end of this.
And did this camera have the exact same timestamp discrepancy
Yes, sir.
as the last one?
Yes, sir.
Oh, bye, Anders,
80
Huddy.
to 81 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Slide 7. Same monitor, different camera.
Yes, sir.
And does this one just point the other direction as the camera we were just talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did that camera have the same timestamp discrepancy as the other two?
Yes, sir.
Whole system has the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Therefore, the time discrepancy is going to be the same on all 3.
Yes, sir.
One moment, please, Your Honor. Let me just ask you this, did the cameras themselves appear to be working when you were out there collecting the footage?
They did.
Did you have any issue collecting the footage?
No, sir.
As we were looking at this image, image 6, we see a police truck out there and U-Hauls in the Chevron parking lot.
Yes, sir.
At that time, was there in fact a police truck out there and U-Hauls in the Chevron parking lot?
Yes, sir. That's a live view of what was going on right there.
Okay, so were these cameras accurately capturing what was actually happening in the real world?
Yes, sir.
And does the timestamp discrepancy have anything to do with the accuracy or reliability of the footage itself?
Good morning, Solistic Glow.
No further questions.
It's nice to see you
All
again.
right, thank you, Mr. Hilliard.
I think we're about done with everything for today. Unfortunately, you got in right
And
here at
Mr.
the
Hilliard,
end.
Before you start, I don't want to take a full break, but if you need to if you feel the need to stand up and just kind of stretch it out, you can feel free to do that. I know you've been sitting for a long time.
Let's see if there's anything else before we take a break.
Oh, just stand up and shake it out a little bit.
The judge is
I'll
funny.
show you what I do.
Oh, okay, the defense is about to question him, so let's see what the defense says.
I recognize you're sitting for a long time.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so
Here's the
on
defense.
October 7th and October 9th, you noticed some sort of time discrepancy, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you documented it, and that's what we just dealt with, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever
We might keep going, Solistic
find
Glow.
out when the discrepancy
We're on the
began?
defense now. They're on break. If they're back
You were
from
just
break,
sent
we'll
out there
keep
to
going
collect the
when we get done with
footage then?
this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you made no further inquiry other than just to note it.
I personally did not. I don't know if my sergeant or the other officer did.
And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just asking you what you did. Okay, so you noted the discrepancy, but you didn't get to the bottom of it.
I want to
or
see if
find out
the
when it
defense
started,
is going to
correct?
actually defend her.
So let's back up a little bit and go to State's Exhibit 11, which was the one you did prior to that one. So you, on October 6th, you got the Dodge Journey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you photographed the Dodge Journey,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Did you do anything else other than that or just take photographs?
Photographed it. We did alternate light on the vehicle to see if there was any like fabric or anything from the scene. We did do a couple swabs of the substance in the back, and we did start the vehicle.
Well, and that's why I'm asking is just based upon the testimony I heard, it seemed like it was just a bunch of pictures you were taking, but there was a lot more to it than that, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many people were out there that day on October 6th, I guess, examining the vehicle?
Myself and Corporal Shriver.
Okay, so 2 of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you went through the vehicle and you noted the alcohol containers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you seize those?
Did I see those?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they were taken into evidence, correct?
No.
They weren't taken into evidence?
Bellis,
Just
I
photograph.
believe in Sasquatch.
All right.
What is
Just
that
curious.
from Billy
Why not?
Madison? That woman's like,
Yeah.
it was
They
that
were-
that old Sasquatch. I don't know if y'all
So
ever seen that,
You
but
don't think
that's
it's
what that
pertinent to
reminded
the
me
case?
of.
You don't log it into evidence?
It was that damn Sasquatch. Something like that.
And who determines whether or not something's evidence?
Guess that would be me.
So you determined it wasn't evidence, so you didn't log it, you didn't test it, you didn't swab it, you didn't keep it, correct? All right. Let's go on to the next picture. You had a picture of a natural light can in the back, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was back in the passenger seat. And did you seize that and take that into evidence?
No, sir.
That was
And
the
again, I
evidence
guess
of
for the
drinking
same
and
reason
driving
you
we
didn't
were just
consider it
talking
to be
about.
Evidence.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, whenever someone drinks from a can or touches a can or does something like that, is it possible to have some sort of DNA contact or transference between it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you think that that might be relevant to testing to see who may have been or not been in the truck at that point in time?
Oh wow, Bellis, you'll have to tell me
It could
sometime.
be, but if they both had, or whoever had access to that vehicle, their DNA and prints would be all over the vehicle.
Okay. All right. But again, you didn't think it was evidence, didn't seize it, didn't test it.
You're
didn't do
good,
anything further with
Sabrosa.
it,
Thank you for
correct?
listening. I appreciate it.
Now, the substance in the back of the vehicle, which was kind of weird, okay, admittedly. You did take that, though.
I took a sample of that.
And let me ask you this. You said it was some sort of kid cereal.
I believe, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, but it wasn't any biological material.
No.
Okay, it wasn't any sort of cleaning solvent or anything like
Oh,
that.
Solistic Glow, thank you for
But it was,
listening.
from
I
what you could
appreciate
tell,
y'all
I don't have
listening
any
while
reason
you're
to
at
think,
work.
you're wrong. It was some sort of kid cereal or breakfast cereal of some sort that was in the back.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were taking pictures of the inside of the van, I'm going to assume you looked throughout the entire thing.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever find any feces or blood or anything like that in it?
We did find a spot that reacted on the driver's side seat, but that was it.
And what was that?
Appeared to be blood. We just blue starred it, and it fluoresced. And it was just a little spot on the front driver's seat.
Okay, did you seize that or send it for further testing?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, sir.
And again, just curious, why not?
Well, that's not
At
good.
the time, it was pertinent.
Now, with regards
Supposed
to
to test
the
all that
rest of the
stuff.
vehicle, did you find anything else of any substance in there? Of any relevance?
There was a spot in the back that we took swabs of and logged in. And there's a couple fibers from the back seat or the back of the vehicle that we collected and logged in.
And what did you do with them once you swabbed them and collected them and logged them in?
That was all I did with them.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, if you look at number 15 from State's Exhibit 11, what was this orange thing and this white thing in the back of the crane?
Those are traffic vests, kind of like safety vests. And then the white paper was from the dentist, I believe it was.
Okay.
Paperwork.
And what's the little orange thing on the ground right there?
Right, Abellis?
I believe
That's
that
what
was
I'm
another
saying.
Safety vest.
All right, and that was the extent of everything that you found or found relevant from the call, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's back up and go to State's Exhibit number 10. And actually, it might be easier to look at State's Exhibit number 9. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do that because it's a better overview and the other ones are just a lot of pictures to thumb through. So you took a bunch of pictures of the house and the surrounding area, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So looking at State's Exhibit 9, and again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but from what my recollection was, there was a pool in the back and there was a set of dining room doors and a set of living room doors that led out to the pool area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it looked like, and again, not trying to put words in your mouth, just going from my recollection, that the living room doors opened into a play area.
Yes, sir.
And the dining room doors opened directly onto the patio area. Is that a fair and accurate assessment of what the pictures you took?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you got there, well, I guess it was on October 5th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there on October 5th, you were sent around to take all the pictures that you took.
Evidently, she just snapped. She was high on cocaine, and I think she just snapped. I think that the one that she Quentin, she didn't care for as much as she cared for her other two. And from what I've gathered, I think that her having him with somebody else and having an older child and then a younger child with the same person made them like every time the guy would look at Quentin, he would see the result of her being with somebody else. And so Leilani felt like Quentin was messing up her relationship. She was not feeling loved, appreciated, and wanted by her boyfriend at the time. And she had went to the dentist and got teeth pulled. And then she had went and got some drugs from her dope man. And evidently she snapped and beat him in the head that night. That's all we know so far. That's all I know so far.
In State's Exhibit 10, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Dean asked you to discuss and go through what it took to go from the front door to, I guess, the living room door, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But based upon that, it's a much shorter trip to go from the front door to the dining room door, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's not nearly as circuitous, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I can't tell from the picture, so I'm going to have to ask you. The dining room door opens right out onto the patio, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you,
The living room
Subrosa.
door opens
Like,
into a play area, correct?
never had
The
the
same
initiative
patio,
to
just
want to
separate.
hurt anybody. I know
Right.
that
And,
much.
and it seems to me, again, not putting words in your mouth, but the play area seemed kind of cordoned off, and the dining room doors didn't. It kind of opened straight into the pool area.
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
So it's much easier to get out through the dining room door onto the patio than the living room door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you were there that day, were those doors open, closed? What were they?
All the doors were closed when I got there.
Okay. Were they unlocked?
I believe so, yes.
So you didn't have any problem opening and closing, or the dining room doors, were they relatively easy to open and get through?
Yes, sir.
And the living room doors, same thing. Were they relatively easy to open and get through?
Yes, sir.
And did you have any difficulty getting through them?
No, sir.
And again, was there anything that indicated that the doors may have been kicked, smashed, broken in any way, shape, or form?
No, sir.
Okay. So they were operable.
Yes, sir.
They're asking this because I think in the defense they're going to say that Quentin walked out the door. That's why they keep asking about the doors specifically. That's my speculation on that.
Now, Mr. Dean asked about the route, I guess, through the downstairs. It's kind of a fairly odd layout in the downstairs area. I think that's safe to say, correct?
Yes, sir.
But was the kitchen in use?
Yes, sir.
And it was usable, correct? Was the living room in use and usable?
Yes, sir.
The dining room in use and usable?
Yes, sir.
And the front area that we're talking about, where you first enter into the front door area, that front door area enters, what's the street that is in direct?
Oh, wow, Abellis. You probably have ADHD. That's probably why.
Yes, sir. Okay. And the dining room and the living room, they open towards the pool, but I assume that's more around back to where the driveway and the garage and all of that was.
Yes, sir.
Again, if I'm misstating it or I'm just trying to understand it, but that seems to me that, and the area had a gate on it, if I'm not mistaken. I remember you taking a picture of a truck.
Yep.
So there's a gate.
Right,
and the gate goes
Subrosa?
around
No
to the
doubt.
back, correct?
Yep.
So wouldn't that indicate that the main entrance and egress to the house is through the back, not the front?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know the layout better than I do, so.
I don't know what entrance they use, but yes.
Okay. So now, when you were taking all of these pictures and you took a number of them, you took 475, right?
Something like that.
Somewhere there about a lot.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not saying these are all them, but you took a lot. When you came across the pictures, you said it was vomit that was in the pack and play, correct?
I believed it was.
You believe it was. Did you seize it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you send it off for testing?
I did not detect it.
So you basically did your job, seized it, handed it off to the detectives, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But the one thing is you're sure it wasn't blood, correct?
I'm not sure.
Didn't look like it, did it?
It did not look like blood.
And not a trick question. You answered this question for Mr. Dean quite readily, so I'm not trying to trip you up. Okay. So it was, but you believed it to be vomit, correct?
I did.
Okay. And you don't know how old it was or how long it had been there.
I don't.
Okay. Now, did you notice anything else of any significance in that front room? I noticed at least there was at least two other cribs or I guess beds in there. Did you notice any urine, feces, vomit, diapers, things like that in the area as well?
I don't recall.
If you had noticed anything like that, would you have taken pictures of it and recorded it?
Yes.
Did you take any pictures of it and record it?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So this was pretty much the extent of what you did in the case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you review you said you went and seized the camera footage from Azalea, if I'm not mistaken. So that was you that went out and picked it up,
Yes.
seized it, and then I guess you forwarded it to the detectives, correct?
Yes, when we put it on a computer at work.
All right. So, and does that conclude your involvement in the case?
Pretty much, yes.
So there's nothing else you did of any evidentiary or investigatory importance at this point. It's pretty much everything that we discussed and talked about here today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Officer Fink. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Just a moment. Turn to the state. Is there any redirect?
You were asked about,
Okay, we'll listen
blood
to
in
the
car, and you
redirect.
mentioned something about this spot on the driver's seat fluorescing.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what you mean? Or blue star or something like that?
The blue star is the chemical we use to look for, it reacts to the hemoglobin in blood, and it will fluoresce blue. So we sprayed the whole vehicle with it. It's a liquid, and the only part that fluoresced was on the front driver's side seat.
Well, let's take it step by step. You spray the whole vehicle with this chemical, right?
Yes, sir.
Then what do you do? Do you next have to turn off the lights?
Yeah, it's got to be completely dark,
Okay.
or as dark as you can get it.
Again, step by step. Once you've turned off the lights, what do you do?
Then we spray the vehicle. We would spray each seat, the floorboard, and then see if there's a reaction. If there's no reaction, then we'll move on to another area, and then another area. And if we get a reaction, then we'll photograph it.
Okay. And then what does it mean for something to fluoresce or react on when you spray it with the blue star chemical?
It lights up blue.
Okay. Lights up blue?
Yeah.
Okay. In the dark?
Yes, sir.
It kind of glows a little bit?
Yes, sir.
First of all, this spot on the driver's seat that had this reaction, was it, before you turned the lights off and sprayed that chemical on it, did it appear to the naked eye to look like blood or not?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just like a little spot?
Yeah.
And where in the driver's seat was it?
It would be pretty much right where you would sit.
Right where you would sit?
Yeah.
Like dead center in the driver's seat?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
And how big was it?
It was just a small, line.
Very small, right?
Yes, sir.
Like almost like a pinpoint or something?
A little bigger than a pinpoint, but not a lot.
Okay. And does the blue star reaction necessarily mean it's blood?
No, it's just a presumptive test.
Now,
I haven't
you take
seen that at
pictures of
Bella's.
that spot before you would turn the lights?
I'm
off
in the
and spray
eastern.
blue star?
Yeah.
And
I'm
did
in
you take
North
pictures of
Carolina
that
on the East
spot
Coast,
with the
so
lights off
I don't know if I'd
glowing
be able
blue
to
with
see it.
blue star chemical on
I
it?
did.
And did you make those images?
Don't sound like this blood is very
I did.
relevant.
And is it detectives who ultimately make the decision about what particular things in the case need follow up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just one more. And just not to belabor the point, but that was one of those things that didn't need follow-up, correct?
I didn't believe it did.
That's all the questions I got. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Is there any reason not to excuse this witness?
No, no.
All right, you are excused, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Abellis. I think Sub Rose is going to check for it. Okay, so we are on break. Okay, it's back. Let's see who this witness is real quick. I'm going to have to go soon.
Lemons. It's Marian. Lemons, Lemmons.
And where are you from?
Richmond Hill.
And did you go to high school in Richmond Hill?
Did.
Are you a detective?
So she's with the police department.
Not currently.
Okay, but do you work for the Chatham County Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. When did you join the Chatham County Police Department?
Late 2018.
And can you describe your...
Okay, she's going to talk about the pack and play. Let's see what she says about that real quick.
In May of 2018, I graduated from...
Let's see what she says about the pack and play real quick.
This is image 30 from State's Exhibit 10. Is this the pack and play that you're describing, looking at?
Yes.
You said it was covered in stains. Can you point us to any of those in this image?
So, I mean, there's some on the lip right here that I could see, and then on the actual bedding, there were several stains.
Okay, so all this stuff around the edge there, did that appear to you to just be kind of general grime and dirtiness?
Yes.
Did it appear to you to be blood?
No, I was thinking more like Cheeto fingers and the kid touching the side.
Okay, as someone who was actually in the room and looked at it, that's what it looked like to you?
Yes.
Okay, so like where they had snacks on their hands, spilled
No.
juice and stuff.
This is image 32 from State's Exhibit 10. And Officer Schenker, I think, said it appears redder on the screen than it appeared
I want you to think about
in
like
the residence.
if he did throw up, not necessarily after being deceased, but just in general. You know, kids will drool or throw up, and if he's been drinking red juice or something, then it's going to be that color. Just like Kool-Aid will turn different colors when it comes out. I'll say that as nicely as I can. Like in the past, you know, kids will be like, "Oh my God, why is it so like fluorescent green?" And it's the dyes and the drinks and things. So going back to this, I would think it's more of the dye in the juice or whatever. Or like, you know, fruit punch juice or something like that. And then if he threw it up, it would be that color.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I published a paper version for the jury just by kind of getting a little red and white here.
Yes.
And actually, pass that around. Just to be clear, did this substance appear to you to be blood?
No.
You said it looked like vomit.
Smelled like vomit. Yeah.
Now, I would like to play for you a brief portion of what's been introduced into evidence as State's Exhibit 2 and identified as Sergeant Bobby Stewart's body-worn camera footage. Was your observation of the pack and play captured on his body-worn camera?
It was.
And did you make any statements while looking at it, at the pack and play, about what it smelled like?
Yes, I immediately said it smelled like vomit.
Smelled like vomit?
Wow.
I'm trying to get just right to the
Oh, sorry, guys.
right spot here.
Is that a big exhibit? Is that a big exhibit?
My computer's going crazy today.
The state's table.
Okay, so I think this is her walking in. We're about to see the body cam footage of her walking in.
I can't stand the smell, so I don't stand that. They got more than that much. They're not going to do that.
It smells like vomit.
All right, I've stopped the playback at 12:31:50 on the timestamp in the top right corner of State's Exhibit 2. Did you see anything that looked like blood in the residence that night?
No.
Now, in State's Exhibit 3, slide 27. What time are we at here?
This is 12:43:12.
And is that you on the far right?
It is.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to Captain Wright, who's in the green shirt with the investigations
I'm
unit.
trying to skip
Captain
past
Sandrich,
anything that might not be
Lieutenant
important.
Thompson, and Lieutenant Foster.
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
So I was told that there was a older child, I believe he was around 3 years old, Zane, and I wanted to speak with him as well as some family members.
And where was he?
Zane had been brought over to the babysitter, Michelle's residence by that time.
And where is that in relation to this house, 535 Buckle?
It's across the street about a block away.
Did you walk there or drive?
I think I just walked.
Did you make contact with Zane there?
Let's see what Zane had to say.
Wharton.
Did you attempt to talk to him?
I did.
Interview him?
Yes.
Can you tell us how that went?
It was on.
First of all, what were you trying to ask him?
Just if he knew where Quentin was. I think I asked if he knew where Quentin likes to hide. I don't know if anything happened last night.
Okay. And was that interview productive in any way?
No.
Can you describe what you mean?
Zane was showing me how fast he could run at that time. So his focus was not on me.
Look at her
And
smiling
it
when
was
she
hard to get
about it.
him
That's
to
so sweet.
acknowledge me, not only to answer my questions, but to just acknowledge my existence.
Okay. So is it fair to say that the interview or attempted interview with Zane was kind of robust?
It was.
And again, how old was he at the time?
At 3.
Okay. But you tried.
I did.
And again, you have specific training to interview children.
Yes.
And it just did not work.
It did not.
Now, at the scene, we saw an image of the public information officer in Sergeant Stewart's body worn camera slides. What's her name?
Betsy Nolan.
Okay. Why was she there?
So anytime there's a critical incident, Miss Nolan will usually do some sort of press release or she'll respond to any media requests for us.
When she looked down, she was thinking, but notice she's making straight eye contact while answering the questions.
Kind of held off to the ends of the street to keep the scene secure.
Yeah, at that point, we would have had a grid search in that entire area. So we needed the media to go somewhere specific instead of responding to the scene itself.
Okay. Is it normal for the public information officer to come out to deal with them?
Yes.
Me too, Abellas.
Yes.
And she's the one that's responsible for giving a statement from the police department to the media.
Yeah, and then relaying any information about what the media needs to put out. At this case, it was a missing child, so she needed them to put out, has anyone seen this child?
Anything unusual or nefarious about Betsy Nolan, the PIO, having been out there?
No.
Okay. All right. So when you get to the precinct for these interviews, Daniel, Paul, and Leilani are already there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And where were they, the three of them?
When I got there, Daniel was in our main interview room. Leilani was in a spare room that we also used as a lactation or
I
nursing
thought we
room.
were, but here
Paul
comes
was in-
Paranormal Rooster. Hey, Paranormal Rooster. I hope you're feeling
because they
okay.
needed to get their statement individually without any other influence.
And were they transported there separately in the first place?
I'm not entirely sure.
Who interviewed who?
Yeah, So at that point, we had Agent Snyder's team had joined us. So we had a FBI agent and a detective paired off. So Agent Brad Snyder and I interviewed Leilani. Agent Savannah Solomon, and Detective Noble interviewed Daniel Youngkin. And then Paul Simon was interviewed by Special Agent Burns and Detective Wilkins.
I want to ask you kind of a technical question about the indictment here. There are a number of false statement charges in the indictment.
Yes.
Have you reviewed it?
I have.
And it is an element of the false statements offense in Georgia that the matter that the person was being questioned about was within the jurisdiction of the Chatham County Police Department to investigate, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it within the jurisdiction of the Chatham County Police Department to investigate the disappearance of a child who lives in Chatham County?
Yes.
I'm glad you're okay. That's good.
So you have these local and federal teams, and you said you were paired up with Special Agent Snyder.
Yes.
And what was the first thing that y'all did?
So Agent Snyder and I had not spoken to Leilani at that point. We wanted to hear it from her, what had happened in the last 24 hours.
And did you conduct an interview with her at that point, sometime shortly after your arrival?
We did.
And where was that interview conducted?
In the lactation/spare room.
And who all was there?
Myself, Leilani, and Agent Snyder.
And was that interview recorded?
It was.
How was it recorded?
I recorded it on my cell phone.
How was your cell phone positioned during this?
I did a video recording and kind of just set it
Oh
down
my
on
gosh,
the table,
Paranormal, I'm so
and the camera
sorry.
angles facing up at the
I
ceiling
hate to
tiles.
hear that.
Now,
Call your
what
doctor
was
and let him know
the
that you were in
goal
pain last
of this
night.
initial interview? What were y'all looking for?
To hear it from her, what had happened in the last 24 hours.
Okay. And did you ask her for an account of her day on October 4th and her night on October 4th and the early morning hours of October 5th?
Yes.
And did she give that to you?
She did.
To the best of your recollection, I know I'm asking you to kind of summarize a lot, but what was that account?
So she described getting her wisdom teeth pulled, returning home with Daniel, eventually getting the kids, getting them, together that night. She talked about laying down to sleep that night. Her tooth started hurting, so she left to get Orajel.
And what time was she saying that Orajel trip was at?
Around 1.
And where was she saying that she had gone to get that Orajel?
To the Chevron gas station.
And where is the Chevron gas station that she was?
Okay, Paranormal, that's good.
I believe it's 4800 Ogeechee Road.
Is it the one that we were looking at in the pictures with Officer Schenker?
Yes.
The one right next to the Azalea Mobile Home Plaza?
Yes.
And who was she saying that she had gotten Orajel from?
Her former coworker, Misty.
Now you've seen the statement that the recorded statement that Lieutenant Foster got from her on scene.
Yes.
Was her story to you about this Orajel trip that you're talking about her providing in the lactation room initially, was it substantially the same as what she had told him on scene?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this this first interview in the lactation room, did she mention anything about a trip to her drug dealer earlier in the night?
No.
Was she asked about her brother Paul's whereabouts through the night?
Okay, Rooster.
And as best you can remember,
I think I'm about to have to go because I've got to do
I
some
believe she
things.
described him returning home that night from work. And
So if you guys want to watch this, we are 30 minutes behind. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I'm going to end it here for today because I've got to run and go do some stuff with the kids, get some schoolwork and stuff done. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And I appreciate this time we spent together today as a family, you guys. I hope you have a good day. I've got to get some videos put out later today too, so I'm going to work on that. Thank you, Trixie. I hope you do too. I hope all you guys have a really good day, the best day you've ever had, ever in your whole entire life. And I'm going to go ahead and just end it here, and then we'll be back in the morning at 9:30. I don't know what we're going to cover yet. Maybe some photos, maybe some more of this. I don't know. We'll see. I'll put the thumbnail out later tonight. So if y'all want to go watch this, you're 30 minutes behind, and that'll give you time to catch up before they go to lunch break. Y'all have the best day ever, and I will see you in the morning. Bye.